Okay, we are live. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Holy Humanist. It has been a while since I have done a live stream, so excuse me if I'm a little bit rusty, and apologies, this was quite a spontaneous live stream, and I thought, well, actually, why not? And what better day to do it than International Women's Day? So before we begin, I would just like to say a very, very happy International Women's Day to all the incredible queens out there. Whatever battles you might be facing internally, externally, within your home or within wider society, please keep at it, be fearless, be steadfast. And yeah, I just think it's a great day to obviously remember all of the shoulders of the women that came before us, whose obviously shoulders we stand on, and all those women who currently can't speak and use their voice. So I think it's also a great day to remember the privilege we have and how best to use that in terms of progressing women's rights, because clearly there is still a long, long way to go. We have come very far, but there is still a long way to go. And especially when it comes to Islam, I have to add that little caveat that it's even more, I guess the obstacles are even more intense for a woman to try and leave, whether it's, the societal reasons or the kind of coercive, controlling elements of Islam itself, and then your family members and wider society, and notwithstanding the fact that the death penalty is also hanging over your heads if you do decide to leave. So by and large, we do know that leaving Islam is a lot tougher for women than it is for men. So bearing that in mind, I'm very grateful that I am in a privileged situation and I've got this platform and I'm able to use my voice. And that is exactly what I intend to do for as long as I can. So yeah, happy International Women's Day to all the women out there and to all the men who support and encourage and motivate and protect their women. Not that they need protecting in that sense, but you all know what I mean. Good men are also very much like the need of the hour in society. So happy International Women's Day to all of you. Now, without further ado, it's nice to see so many regular people here. Hi, everybody in the chat. Prince Tyler, Nazreen, Grey Jedi, Kiko, lovely to see you all again. It's been a while. I hope you're all well. And yeah, let's get cracking. So today I've got a very interesting guest with me, and I will let him do his own introductions. But I would like to welcome Shoaib onto Holy Humanist. So Shoaib, hi there, welcome.
Hi, Nuriyah. Thank you very much for having me. I've been watching you for a very long time, so it is a pleasure being here. And happy Women's Day to everybody. Well, when I say everybody, I mean all the women out there. So yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. And no, I appreciate that you've been watching as well, and that you also reached out for us to have this conversation, because obviously I love bridging the gap and kind of finding middle ground. So just to kind of, for the record from the beginning, Shoaib is a Muslim and I am an ex-Muslim. So there's that slight kind of difference where I've left the faith altogether. Shoaib is still very much within the faith and I'm guessing very much believing, but we'll hear from him. So Shoaib, I will bring your YouTube channel onto the screen, but if you could just kind of give us a brief introduction as to, I guess, who you are, why you started a YouTube channel, and how you got in contact, why you got in contact with me, rather.
Yeah, sure. So what it is that I'm a Pakistani basically, but I was raised in Saudi Arabia. I live in Jeddah for 22 years of my life, and then I came to the UK for my education, where I completed my bachelor's from Brunel University, and then I went back to Saudi Arabia to work there for a couple of years, and afterwards I came back to the UK where I completed my master's degree, and that was around in 2017 when I finally went back to Saudi Arabia. And while I was working in Saudi Arabia in 2017, I just realized I felt like I grew up in what do you say? I felt like I just grew up in UK, and there were so many things while I was in the university. I've seen and I met so many people here in the UK, and there was something about the UK that I actually liked. So I just decided that if I want to continue living my second half of the life, obviously after my education, my work life, so I thought I will come to the UK, and that's how I decided to come to the UK. And as far as my YouTube channel go, it's a funny thing. I basically started this channel, and it was it was honestly, it was nothing. You can see now it says political discussion and personal experience and everything. It was absolutely nothing. What it was, I used to do very like stupid movies. I tried to be funny, and it wasn't funny. But I used to do so many like if like really really stupid videos. But then all of a sudden, a few things happened, and from there, where it all became a little bit political in regards to my views, obviously. And like you just said, yes, I am a Muslim, so in accordance to the religion and how the people have been behaving in the UK. And I'm sure you have lived in the UK longer than me. As I said, I have been in the country for 12 years, but I've been on and off. It's only since 2018 I have been in the country, permanently. And so being in the country between 2008 and 2018, which is 10 years, I was back and forth because I was studying here, but I always used to go back to Saudi Arabia. And I was working in Saudi Arabia as well. So as I said, since 2018, it was a different experience. I used to live in Milton Keynes. Obviously, now I live in Wales. Living in Wales, the things that I've seen, I never imagined. So yeah, we will touch on that obviously, but this was a little bit of introduction. So yeah, and oh, and one more thing, I know you're an ex-Muslim. If I tell you my stance, where I stand with that, obviously, like I said, I did grow up in Saudi Arabia, so I believe in one thing. See, I honestly, I am colorblind. I am faith and religion blind. I am cultural blind. The only thing that I see is a character of a person. So for me, to be honest, it doesn't matter if you're an ex-Muslim or a Muslim or whatever, a Jew or a Christian or a Hindu or atheist. I honestly couldn't care, to be honest. For me, as long as you're a good Muslim, or well, as long as you're a good person, and me coming across as a good person, I will judge you only on your character. The religion and everything else, I don't see that. So I just thought I'll put it out there.
Yeah, no, no, no. Thank you for that.
No.
I do respect that. Don't be too good of a Muslim, though, please. To people that
Oh no, I'll be
listen.
just myself. Like I said, I think for me, my religion, I usually keep it to myself. Like obviously, I know this is the month of Ramadan, and like myself, a lot of people are fasting. And what I have noticed now, so this is the one thing that I've noticed only in the UK. Even though, like I said, I live in Saudi. I used to live in Saudi Arabia, which is a Muslim country. A lot of people call it the birthplace of Islam. So when living in the UK, I have noticed one thing, and the thing is, there are a lot of people. When I say a lot of people, I'm talking about the Western Muslims, the Muslims from the West, from the UK, like born and raised. They have this habit of going around and putting everything out there. As in, if they are fasting, they want to, they want to go around and telling people, "Hey, I'm fasting," as if it's some sort of thing. They're doing it for the people. For me, I will go with my friends. I'll be fasting. I'll be out with my friends. They will go to a restaurant. I'll go with them. They will be eating, and they will ask me, "Do you want to eat?" And I'll tell them, "No, I'm not hungry." I never sit there and tell them, "Hey guys, look at me. I'm fasting and I'm offended." No, I go there. I chill with them. I talk to them. When it's my time to eat, I'll eat. If it's not, then I'll just sit there and speak to them. I never get offended, like I said. And I think this is the difference that I see. There are a lot of people that I have seen previously where I used to work, and when I was the place where I was working, there were so many people. They used to get offended if somebody even talked about food and what they're gonna have tonight. They were like, "Oh, do you not know we are fasting?" And I used to look at them and I'd be like, "You're fasting for yourself and for your God. What has it got to do with anyone else?" And the same way, I see a lot of Muslims. They would like to pray in the middle of the street. They want to block the roads of the UK, which, in my opinion, UK is and always will be a Christian country. And if you want to bring in your religion, it's very easy. If you're a Muslim and you cannot agree with the Christian values that the UK have, or whatever is left of it, if you can't agree with that, then maybe go to a country which is a Muslim country. There are many Muslim countries, by the way, that they can go to. I wouldn't want to see any Muslim rules or regulation put into the British culture, because that is not the British culture. So yeah.
Yeah, I think we're in agreement on that. And I'm so sorry. I just realized it has just gone
No,
sunset.
yeah, I've
Fasting.
already, yeah, I have already had my water, so it's all good. It's all good.
Oh no, I'm so
No,
sorry. I
no, it's
should have
fine.
realized that.
No, it's fine. See, that's the thing. I don't want you to be sorry. I think you only know because it's sunset, and yeah. But I have had my water, so don't worry. I'm absolutely fine. Trust me,
Okay,
sir.
but you haven't eaten anything, and I feel awful
I have,
because are you
I have.
sure?
Yeah,
Oh gosh. Okay, and I'm okay. Anyway, the fast is broken now, so I can't
yeah,
eat
it's
my
broken.
tea.
Yeah, I know. I
I
don't
get
mind.
when
Like I said, I don't mind these things. Yeah, it's all good.
yeah, and no, even when I was a Muslim, I would be okay with people eating and drinking in front of me when I'd be fasting because I was like,
Exactly.
actually, this is testing my willpower more, especially if you're eating like a delicious burger that I really want. When I would come back to London, and I'd be on like the underground, and people would be eating as normal because I lived
Yeah.
in Dubai and Saudi Arabia, which we will talk about because we have a lot of that in common, I think.
Yes.
But when I lived there, I used to get in trouble the days that I wasn't fasting and I was going to do exams if I was drinking coffee in the car,
Yeah.
or, I was like, really, oh my God. And when I'd come to England, I was like, wow, this is the real test because everyone's carrying on as normal, and I'm the one who's fasting for 8 to 10 hours a day. But okay, Shoaib, if you need to like snack as we
No, no,
talk,
I'm fine. Honestly, yeah, no, absolutely fine. I don't mind at all. I'm not. Believe me, I don't get hungry. I literally carry on as my day. I usually go out and I'll be, playing some sports. I'll go to the gym and I'll be fine. To be honest, it doesn't bother me at all.
okay, well,
Yeah.
we'll try not to keep you too long so you can have a
No,
proper
it's fine.
dinner soon. But what I did want to talk about as well, obviously, is that I did see a video circulating on Twitter that caught my eye. And honestly, I was like, oh, salute to this man for doing what he did, because I guess everything that's to do with Hope Not Hate and George Galloway, who I personally really can't stand, by the way, and I'm sure you feel a very similar sentiment towards him. But you took it one step further and you actually, I believe, called into his show
Yes.
and rendered him angry slash a little bit speechless, and he kind of kicked you off, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. Is
Yeah. So
that
what it was with I think with George Galloway, I used to watch him a lot in on YouTube. Like, now he got this new thing where you just need to get in touch with the producers and the director, and they will put you on a show, and you usually get one question. So every time I've watched this guy, obviously recently he's changed his stance again. Before what he was, he was saying things as if like, oh, the Muslims, they need protection from the West culture, they need protection from the Western people. And obviously my experience with the British Muslims, well, I don't call them British Muslim, the Muslim from the West, the Muslims who grew up in the UK, who I believe they are fully brainwashed, they're long gone, and I don't think there is any help for these people, and nobody can help them. Like, this is how far gone these people are. So anyways, I used to watch George Galloway, and he always used to speak about the MDL, which is the Muslim Defense League. Well, obviously, a lot of people have heard about it. They made this group in the name of, in the name of free speech, democracy, and in the name of Islamophobia. That they said, "Oh, we
as
need
a
protection."
reaction to the EDL? Sorry to interrupt, but also as a like
Yeah, of
reactionary.
course, yeah,
Yeah,
it is. It was a reaction, but the thing is, EDL doesn't exist. But anyways, yeah. So it was to that. But again, as I said, they just use a lot of thing, such as what they call it. It's Islamophobia. Again, it's a made up term. I'm a Muslim. I don't think it exists. There is no such thing as Islamophobia. But yeah, yeah. So he used to say that, and I don't know if you want to play the video. I
yeah,
can.
sure. Please, if you can try and share your screen with me, I'm more
Of
than
course,
happy
yeah.
to play it for the viewers to have a look at. I mean, I had a right chuckle. I watched it a few times.
I know
It
there
gave
was
me great
quite
satisfaction
a
to see.
Yeah, there were quite a few people that were saying that they liked it. So what I'm gonna see if actually I will share the video file right now.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, is there? Can you see it? It's on your screen now.
yes, I can. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna add it now.
Hi. So my name is Shoaib, and I am a Pakistani Muslim. Has something happened to it?
Yeah. Oh, I think it just froze.
Let me check. Because that I have seen. I can actually share my screen then, because if it's not working, I can.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead and share your screen. I'll
Yeah,
accept.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
If I-
I just want people to see, because it was a live show that you called into,
yeah.
and he kind of had you on the big screen, and he just had to cut you off as soon as you
You know,
answered the question. It was
there was
brilliant.
there was a point where he just went like this to his producers that I get this guy off.
Yeah, cut,
Yeah,
cut,
yeah. I think if you can take this bit off, yeah. Now I'll share my screen, and hopefully then let me know if you can hear it as well. Then
yeah, yeah. Sorry about that, Hisham, and to everyone watching. We're just kind of getting it back on. 1 minute. Is it this one?
yeah, you should be able to see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, so my name is Shoaib, and I am a Muslim, and I've been in the UK, immigrated in the UK since the last almost 10 years, and I was raised in Saudi Arabia. So I watch your shows and I watch a lot of your YouTube video clips, and I had a question, and the question was that I have seen, you said that there are a lot of Muslims that have been attacked by the far right, such as Tommy Robinson and everything, and all of these kind of people. So and they need to defend themselves. So me as a Muslim, I want to ask you because I have a difference of opinion, and I've been constantly attacked by the Bangladeshi community in Swansea where I live now, and they're attacking me in a way. They have got a group called Far Right Watch List, and I'm on the top of the list. And it is because I have a difference of opinion. As I said, I'm not from the UK. I live in the UK, but I'm a Pakistani Muslim. But and these are the Muslims who are attacking me because they know I don't have any friends or family here, and they put up my address, my car registration, where I used to work. So they've done all of these things. So when you say that the people, the Muslims, need protection from far right, what about people like me? How do I get protected? And in all honesty, I've got people from Voice of Wales, and what they have done, they have actually protected me against these Muslims. I can't leave my house. I can't go to work because where I used to work, like I said, it was opinion. And I have actually met Tommy Robinson myself personally firsthand. I didn't see that guy as a racist, like to be. And this is me being honest. Like I said, I'm an immigrant. You can tell from my accent. I'm not from here. So for me, Tommy Robinson. Sorry.
I've got bad news for you.
Yeah.
No matter how many bow ties you wear, and no matter how many Superman suits you hang up behind you, these people will never accept you. You're a man.
I don't want them to accept me. The thing is, I don't want to be accepted. I've been living here.
We don't need Muslims. Look, we've got this toy boy here in a bow tie and a Superman suit, and he doesn't think that we are racists. You're an embarrassment, son. You'd be better to shuffle off the stage. Assad said is in Edmonton. Let's hear from him. Assad.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Did you see straight away he played the you won't be accepted card?
Yeah. And I told him I don't want to be accepted. The thing is, I said to him, I don't want to be accepted. I'm just asking you, where do I get the help? Because I have been targeted by the Muslim community in Swansea where I live. It's been ridiculous. And I think that was the reason why I got in touch with you in the first place, because obviously I knew that, to say the least, that because you're an ex-Muslim, I know you must have had a lot of problems than me or anybody else, because I only have a difference of opinion that I don't agree with majority of the Muslims from the UK. I don't agree with them, and that is my crime. But I think for you, because you're an ex-Muslim, it's even more dangerous the way that these people probably have attacked you or try to attack you online, or however they can. So yeah. So yeah,
definitely. But just to kind of flip that back on your safety and why it could be more problematic for you is because a Muslim like yourself who would still try and want to do things like attend the mosque or have some semblance of being part of the community. Because as an ex-Muslim, I can completely remove myself, to be honest, and I have no need to interact on the daily with quite extreme-minded Muslims. So it is easier in that sense to have that kind of distance between us. But let's say if you want to partake in Eid prayers or like these prayers every day in Ramadan, they're called Tarawih, which you go to every evening. If
I don't go to them anymore. Yeah, I can't.
Imagine, I wouldn't if I was you, because I'm sorry that the security risk is too real. My local mosque would be off limits to me if I was you.
Yeah, I actually don't go to the mosque anymore. It's the reason why is because they are very hostile towards me, and I think they have been quite few comments that they have made about me. Like I said, they put my car out because I used to have a Union Jack flag on it, and they said, "Oh, it's a fascist car." They didn't write whose car is it. They just made it look like they basically put me a target. And obviously, when I went to the police didn't see it was any sort of threat. They were like, "No, it's fine." Eventually, and this is a really sad thing for me, because every time I have had a car, I always had a Union Jack flag on it, and now I have a Welsh flag on the hood of my on the top of my car, and I have a Union Jack on the bonnet of the car. So the problem is now I had to take it off because of the security reason. I have to take the Union Jack off. And can you believe this? Because you will see the pro-Palestinian people. Obviously, there was a news just now as I was getting ready to come on this live with you, that there is somebody has gone near Big Ben and gone on top, not on top of the Big Ben, but just around the Parliament, and they
On
have
the
put the
Elizabeth Tower. Yeah.
no, not on the tower, just like on the ground base, not that high, but around the Big Ben area, and they've put the Palestine flag there. So
Oh,
you know,
I saw him this morning. He was on the Elizabeth Tower, and the
yeah.
police were
Oh,
trying to get
Elizabeth
him
Tower, yeah, that's the
off.
one. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So
It
you know,
was a
for
joke.
me, huh?
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying, for me to even have a Union Jack in the country that we live, which is the UK, it's somehow is like not a crime but a threat to my safety. But yet you have all these hateful flags, you know, going about, no problem whatsoever. They chant, you know, all these things that they chant, but you know, it's just. But yeah, it is what it is. And you believe it or not, the police is very much aware of it, because there have been so many complaints that I've made against the mosque and the Muslims, and unfortunately, as I said, nothing has happened. Absolutely nothing. So yeah.
Yeah,
So
actually, we'll get onto that because I do wanna delve into that a little bit
yeah,
more. But I just find it absolutely mind-boggling that in this country, it seems more of a threat and kind of like, disrupting community relations if you have a Union Jack displayed on
yeah,
your car or outside your
yeah.
house, and a flag of Palestine is more welcome, and you feel safer holding that than you do carrying a Union Jack. That just like spells out the state of affairs of the country that we're currently living in. And I guess it's the exact same situation in Wales. And I think you find yourself embedded around such a kind of like insular Muslim community that they're trying everything within their power to make sure you don't kind of dissent from the way they think, and talk about the community and say the things that you do, because as you were saying earlier, you are Muslim and you are from the Pakistani community, and I think those two things together are enough for you to kind of blow the lid off of some of the worst aspects of that society, especially within the UK. And it's just not something that they would tolerate, especially if you're saying things like, Tommy Robinson is not the racist that they all try and paint him as. I mean, these are things that are essentially going to get you completely sidelined. So,
Correct.
yeah, Shoaib, if we could just kind of talk a little bit about what happened in terms of the Muslim community really trying everything in their power to come after you, in a sense, and the fact that it went all the way up to prevent getting involved. Obviously, feel free to share how much you're
Of course.
allowed to and how much is safe. But yeah.
Yeah. So I think obviously there is a lot of things that's going on. Obviously, it all started with the Tommy Robinson, and I'll tell you a quick story before I go into prevent, because it's all interrelated. And with Tommy Robinson, what it was, obviously the Muslim community, the Asians, they hate him. Everybody you speak to, they're like, oh, he's a racist, he's a racist. So I never knew who this guy Tommy Robinson was. Obviously, every now and then I've seen him. But from the Muslim community, I heard them talking about him once. Like, I think it was last year around summertime, sometime, and I was in the mosque, and somebody was saying about him, and I overheard it, and I asked a question, and the guy was like, "Oh, you know what? He's a racist. He's a white racist from, I think, from Luton somewhere." And I said, "Okay." And I said, "Oh, why is he a racist?" They literally, and this is the type of question they don't like answering. So they will say, "Oh, somebody because they're white, oh, it's a racist," and they expect to be like, "Oh, yeah, you know what? That's good." But I'm not like that. I like to ask questions. So I asked them a question. And I said, "You call him a racist. Can you tell me the reason why is he a racist?" They didn't want to say anything. So that time I made up my mind and I said, "You know what? I'm going to go home and I'm going to do a research on it." So I did a research on Tommy Robinson. And that's when I sat down and I watched so many of his stuff like, his interviews. There were quite a few things that were coming up. And I didn't think he was a racist at all. Like, there was nothing racist about him. So I said, maybe, okay, I've seen him on the camera. Maybe he's pretending, because these people obviously saying totally different to what I'm seeing, on his documentaries and stuff. So I thought I can go and I can actually meet up with him and I can find out for myself. So I met him for a brief, I would say 30, 40 minutes. And I asked him, I said to him, look, I am an immigrant, right? I am a Pakistani. I am a Muslim. Do you have a problem with me? He did ask me a question and he said, how did you go to this country? Because obviously the way I was dressed, he knew that I didn't come on a boat. So he said, well, I just want to know, how do you go to the country? So I told him, I came here through Heathrow Airport. I came here on a valid visa, which I still got. And I worked for.
I love that.
So, yeah,
Not on a TV from
oh,
Calais.
sorry, I'm a dinghy. Yeah, a dinghy. Yeah. So I said to him, yeah, I work full time. This is where I'm working and everything. So he said to me, I got no problem with people like you. And I don't know if you know this, and I don't know if a lot of people watching now who knows this, because I am a legal citizen in the country, and I'm legally in the country, I am not entitled to any benefits. When I say any benefits, I mean universal credit or anything. I'm not entitled to it. Do I pay for it? Yes, I do. Like, you still have to pay into the system. You still have to pay your tax and everything else. But what you don't get is the payment that you've done. You don't get anything back. So just in case if I were to lose my job or anything, I don't get any benefits. So he was very good to me, and he spoke to me, and not only that, he said to me, "Why did you have to ask me this question? Like, you travel all this way to come and speak to me, and all you've asked me is, am I okay with you? Why would you say that?" I said, "Because I've been told that you're a racist." So he said, "Oh, what do you think? Am I a racist?" I said, "No, I genuinely never thought you were racist, and that's why I wanted to find it for myself, because that's what I like to do. If somebody says something to me, I will turn up and I will observe and report." So he said, "There is a protest going on. Would you like to go to a protest and have a look at yourself? Because uh, these people are called the far right thugs, the far right racists, whoever supports Tommy Robinson." So I said to him, "I will do that," and I did. It was when he got arrested in October on the 26th, when there was a protest. I went to it, and believe it or not, I have spoken to numerous people. I was at the back, then I was at the front. I have spoken to so many people, and I did not see even one single racist. If anything, there were people in the crowd who were saying it to me, that if you see anybody from our side being nasty to you, being racist to you, you come to me, and we will make sure that that guy get kicked off. So, if they are saying the white people are racist, I don't owe them anything. They don't owe me anything. Why would he even say this to me? And unknown strangers telling me from Tommy Robinson's crowd, saying, "Oh, if any white person is trying to be racist or rude to you, you need to come to us, and we will kick him out of the of the protest." So, this is so this happened. And what I did after this, straight after that, I came home, and that's when I put this post out on my X, which is Twitter. And that, I think that post was seen by more than 30-40,000 people. It got a lot of likes, a lot of share. And I started off by saying I am a Pakistani legal Muslim immigrant, and I think that was the thing that caught everyone's attention. And I was like, "Oh, I would like to say something about Tommy Robinson and the so-called far right racist people." And when I did that, I had a phone call from somebody from the mosque, because obviously, like I said, I used to go to the mosque. They had my number, and they knew where I live and everything. I had a call from the mosque, and I was told to attend the mosque because they wanted to speak to me. And obviously, in my head, I was going, last time I checked, this is not Pakistan. This is not some Muslim country that you're going to call me and tell me, "Oh, come up." You got no authority. You're literally an individual like myself. Your opinion are as less important as much as mine. So, I don't know why would you call me, but I wanted to go, and I wanted to have a look. So I went there, and I actually recorded. I had a voice recorder with me, and because I didn't know what I was walking into. So I went to the mosque, and the guy from the mosque kept telling me, "You have no idea what you're talking about. You're not from the UK." And they love to play this. They will tell you that the white people doesn't want you. The white people want to kick you out of the country. Is the white people this and white people that? But every time I've spoken to the Muslim community, which is, they call themselves the British-born Muslims, when you speak to them, the first thing they say to me, remind me that, "Oh, you know what? You're brown. You're a Pakistani. You're an immigrant." And I say, I have a mirror. I look at myself every day. I know I'm brown, and I know I'm a Pakistani, and I'm very much aware that I am here as an immigrant. It doesn't bother me at all. Like, you don't need to remind me. Not one white person in 10 years of me living here have ever even touched on this thing that, "Oh, you're an immigrant, or you're not British," or, I never had this issue. Anyways, they did that. And I obviously then, because I was up against 8 or 9 people from the mosque, and I said to them straight away, and I said to them, "You know what? There is no way in hell I'm going to change my views," because they were asking me to delete the post. Basically, that's what they said to me. "You don't understand. You have no idea. You need to delete the post," which I didn't. I did not delete the post, and I went home. And from there is when the hostility started from the Muslim community. So I used to work. Well, I don't want to say where I used to work, but I used to work in a very good job. I'm sure you, of course, where I used to work. And well, I'll say, obviously, I used to work for the council. Basically, I was working for the council, and these Muslims now, they have called in the council. Not only called in, police actually turned up to my workplace, and I wasn't there because I was working from home. They turned up to my workplace, and they said, and that this happened, I think, around a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and this is October last year. They turned up to my workplace, and they were looking for me. And while they were looking for me, they said, "Oh, there is he's a racist guy." So this is what the police done, calling me a racist just because they had an anonymous phone call, giving my address to where I work, and they said, "Oh, you need to turn up and you need to see what this guy is doing because he's a racist." So this happened on a Tuesday. And I found out on a Friday, and I actually went to the police station with my lawyer then, because like I said, I wasn't sure what was going on. When I turned up to the police station on a following Sunday, and I said to them, look, this is what has happened. My work has told me that I am being accused of being a racist. You have turned up to my workplace. You haven't had any contact with me, even though the police have my number. I used to help them, like when I'm out and about, they used to come, like I go speak to them, they speak to me. So they know where I live and everything. So when I went to the on the police station with my lawyer, not once they said that they had any proof of me being a racist, but they still turned up to my workplace because the Muslim community were, bombarding them with phone calls. Oh, there's a racist, there are racists. You need to go, you need to go. And like I said, they turn up. And till today, it's been almost like what 4 or 5 months. Till today, I do not know the name of the police officer who turned up to my workplace and spoke to the security guard. The security guard told me that they would be calling me a racist. Like I said, 3 4 months on, I still don't know who that was. But what they have done then, turning up to my workplace, is made me a target for my bosses there. And let's not forget, the people in the Swansea Council are pro-Palestinians. They are the Labour government, and a lot of them councillors there. I see them almost every other day, every other week in the pro-Palestine rallies, and they come out, they support, they're supporting the Palestine, and these are the people who never ever left the country, and they want to support something they're not aware of. So anyways, that happened, and unfortunately, because of all that, and then obviously my bosses told me that I need to delete my YouTube channel. Like I said, my YouTube channel was a stupid things, but it was like, the show of power, that we can tell you to do something, and if you don't listen, see what happens to you. So they said that to me. I told them I'm not going to delete it. I'm not going to do that. And get, and you know what they did? They fired me from my job. And I think I did tell you about that. I'm sure I told you straight away that when that happened, because I was trying to look for help, trying to see what needs to be done. So they fired me from my job, which is unfair dismissal. Obviously, now we are waiting to see what has happened. Again, 5 months on, nothing. I still don't have a job. So after that, then I got kicked out of my basketball team. So basically, this is what they do. They try to take your livelihood away from you. Everything. They know everything that you do, because Swansea is such a small little area. It's like a village. It is a city, but it's like a small little village kind of thing. So so I lost everything, and then I remember I still didn't stop. I still keep reporting things where I said, the far right people are not racist. Then I started going to all these demonstrations to see what it is all about. So what I did, I observe and report. That's all I was doing. And me doing the observe and report, somehow target, like, the Muslim community, somehow and I believe this is what has happened. So in my opinion, I think the Muslim community then has filled a form, and they have and what they have done, they have sent it to the Prevent. So Prevent is counterterrorism. So this is what is about. So Prevent then turn up to my house, and I think you have seen the video, or obviously circulated. And I haven't posted the whole video. I've only put out like 6 7 minutes of it. So with the 7 minute, all they kept asking me was one of the thing was, why do you think Tommy Robinson is not a racist? It was all about surroundings Tommy Robinson. Okay, why do you think Tommy Robinson is this? Why do you think? And those days, I think this was in January, when I was very openly speaking about the rape gangs, the Pakistani rape gangs. So people were calling them grooming gangs, but what I was doing, I was calling them the Pakistani rape gangs. So they actually questioned me on that, and they said, "Oh, why are you talking about the rape gangs and calling it out as Pakistani rape gangs?" I said, well, I am a Pakistani. I am very much aware of the culture and everything that happens in Pakistan, and the way they treat their kids, their women, and sometimes, not sometimes, most of the time, little boys as well. So I will obviously speak about something that I've got experience in, something that I've got knowledge of. So, and this was a white guy. I did ask him if he was a Muslim. He was not a Muslim, and he said to me that, oh, well, there are white pedophiles as well. I said, I get it, there are white pedophiles, but I'm not white. If you think there are white pedophiles, you are white. You should speak about them.
Wait, sorry, is that somebody from Prevent that said that to
Yeah,
you?
Prevent. Yeah,
Oh,
Prevent.
wow.
They
Kind
said
of
to
level
me,
of conversation they were having with you in your house.
in my house. Yeah, they were in my house, sitting in my house, and I welcomed them. And like I said, this happened on a Friday, which was again like I think it was in January. Yeah, it was in January, Friday. So they were sitting with me, and they were saying all these things to me that, oh, why wouldn't you talk about the other rape gangs? I said, well, I'm a Pakistani, and Pakistani rape gang is totally different to the one that we're talking about, because this is not only something that is a religious thing, but is also a cultural thing. So my reason for talking about is because I don't want people looking at me and saying, oh, he's a Pakistani, maybe he's similar to them. Because if you don't talk against these rape gangs and call them as it is, that means you're complicit. If you're not calling them out and you're thinking, oh, you know what, oh, I'm just going to sit back. No, why are you sitting back? They are doing it in my name because I am a Pakistani, and they are raping kids, and then they're using the religion, then they use the culture, then they use this dementia thing. Oh, we don't remember, I don't know, mental illness. And then biggest of them all is then they use Islamophobia. Everything for them, they will do everything wrong. The moment you call them out, Islamophobia, racist. I have been called a far right racist. I have been called a Nazi. I don't remember seeing a brown Nazi before, but you know what? Now you've seen one, because that's what they've called me. They've labeled me that as well. A Nazi, a fascist, everything. But my reason of calling these people out, as I said, look, I don't want people looking at me and saying just because he doesn't call them out, that means he's complicit. And I very much agree with that. If you're a Pakistani, there is a problem in your culture, a lot of them driven by the religion, yes. So if there is a problem, you have to address them. You don't need to, but what the Muslim community does, they do deflection tactics. What
Oh
will
yeah.
happen? Yeah, three rapists came out, Pakistani rapists. The first thing they will do, sit on the internet, let's find a black rapist, let's find a Jewish rapist. And they'll be like, oh, you're talking about these 3 Pakistani rapists. Well, guess what about these 5 Jewish? Well, I'm not, why do I care about the Jewish or the white? I'm not white. I am going to talk about something that I'm aware of and that I can see. It's not only a problem in the UK, it's a problem worldwide. And I think, Nuriyah, you would know this. If you obviously used to live in Dubai. So there is a cricket ground in Dubai where people used to go and watch matches. So one of these cricket ground I've been into, and when you enter that cricket ground, there is something written only in Urdu, and it says in Urdu, no political chanting, in Urdu, not in English, not in Arabic, in Urdu, because they know it is the Pakistani people. They like to ruin everything for. Like I said, I am a Pakistani, but I am addressing this because it's a fact. So if they want to sit here and say the white people are racist, then guess what? The Arabs are even bigger racists than the white people, because the way Arabs have treated the Pakistani, and only because of the way the Pakistani have behaved in Saudi Arabia, in Dubai, everywhere you go. There was very recently a lot of Pakistanis cannot get visas for Dubai. There was a time Pakistanis were getting open visa going to Turkey. They don't get that either, because what the Pakistani community did then, you get all these Pendus, Pendus, and the Pakistanis who just who
I
are
don't like using
uneducated.
that word, but yeah,
Yeah.
basically
Well,
like very,
yeah.
very kind
The
of
reason why the
yeah,
reason why I use that word is only because what they did then, they went to Turkey and they were doing Snapchats, and what they were doing in the background, they were taking pictures of girls as much
yeah,
as little kids as well. So obviously then the Turkish government was like, no, we're not going to have these guys because these people are inhuman. So if you're telling me there was a problem in Turkey, that the Turkish government had to ban the Pakistani people coming into Turkey only because the things that they were doing, and these are exactly the same thing that they do in UK. So how is it that the white people are racist but everybody else is not? Because the Arabs are doing the same, the Turkish people doing the same to the Pakistanis. So I don't get it.
no, and obviously the disclaimer that not all Pakistanis, but we're talking about a very select, really kind of
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I'm a Pakistani myself.
yeah, no, exactly. So am I. That's why we
Yeah.
have a bit of a free pass to kind of, if we're not going to comment and critique our kind of culture, then who is? If we should be given that extra leeway to do that, because they're going to call everybody else racist. And honestly, they have done so well in scaring, I would say, white people into even commenting on this because of the tags of Islamophobia and racism, that I feel like it's more our duty to call it out more than ever. Which is why I'm grateful to you, because I think we can we meet in some kind of middle ground, with you still being a Muslim and I myself being an ex-Muslim, and the fact that you're even willing to come and talk to me here, despite the fact that a lot of the things I say for many Muslim ears are regarded as way too blasphemous. But you acknowledge that there is a serious problem within the British Pakistani community, whether it's second, third generation immigrants, and the way they hold on to Islam, the things that they do in the name of Islam, and specifically who they're targeting in that, namely white working class girls, and the justifications behind that. So massive kudos to you to even call that out, and especially given where you are and given how surrounded you are by, so many other Muslims who are trying to shut you down left, right, and center. What really kind of it was mad for me to see the way that honestly, that video of just even your kind of cam dash from your door, the way they
Yeah.
knocked and the way they came in, and the question that they're asking you is pretty much the same conversation that, honestly, the same arguments that a Muslim would have for you bringing up these grievances of, why do these rapists get a free pass? And this is why I'm bringing up these topics. And they're kind of towing the exact same narrative as the Muslim would, which is insane to me. And it just shows you that it's gone so far from what it was supposed to do, because they're more concerned with somebody like you, who I think, if it's safe for me to say, veers more towards religion being a personal thing, and you're kind of more on the secular side of things, accepting of British values. They're more worried about you being tempted by the quote unquote far right than they are of actual extremist mindsets within our midst. And let's be honest, there's probably not enough of a far right to even fill two massive pubs in the UK at the moment, whereas the amount of Islamic extremists who are walking amongst us is off the charts. And I can just tell you, in various different London boroughs that I go to, how unsafe it is for a woman like me to even think about walking there after dark, or things like that. That is just real issues that have kind of plagued our society now. And they're more concerned of, are you tempted by the quote unquote far right? Are you retweeting Tommy Robinson? And it's just like, where are your priorities, and where has this country gone?
They did say to me that they were worried that I was being radicalized by the far right. That's exactly
Exactly.
their
That's
words
what
were.
they're more concerned about. Can you, even in the training? So I know, obviously, it was so sad to hear that you lost your job. Not surprising, but very sad to hear that you lost your job, because I don't think anybody should lose their livelihood based on, having a certain political viewpoint, or let alone standing up for the most vulnerable members of our society at the hands of people from the same community as you. Like, that's wild to me.
And
But
I think,
unfortunately,
exactly, like I said, I won't touch on other bit now that I'm going to say too much, because that is still an ongoing investigation. But literally the next day, so they came to my house on Friday, and Sunday early morning, I was arrested for being a racist. I think I remember when I came, like I said, it was that was, I think that was the most craziest thing that has ever happened to me in my whole life. Where not only I don't feel safe being in Swansea anymore, I am, like I said, I own a car, but I can't put a Union Jack on it because it's against my safety. And when I go to the police, they don't want to help me. And if anything, every time that I have made a complaint against somebody from the Muslim community, they have actually come after me making a complaint against them and telling me that I am harassing them. Do you know what? It's so crazy that you won't believe it. And I think that was another point that we wanted to touch, and I will go into it because it's the new rules that is coming from the 1st of April. I think it is 2025 against the white people. Do you know, like literally, it is coming against the white people, saying that if you are from an ethnic minority, you will not be how do you say? They will not punish you as harsher as they will punish a white person.
yeah,
Do
they
you know,
will take your ethnicity and your religion and things like that into
into
consideration
consideration?
when sentencing, which, again, I feel like I'm living in a nightmare. And the other day
Exactly.
I
I
went
feel
on
the
a
same.
rant. Yeah.
I feel
And
the same.
you feel the same, and you're a Muslim. Can you imagine?
Exactly.
And I get it that, fine, ex-Muslims are genuinely quite, they find themselves usually quite politically isolated and homeless here, and the level of protections aren't really in place. But you, even as a Muslim, from speaking within the fold and kind of, raising a voice, somebody made a comment earlier, and it just goes to show that regardless, if you're speaking against them and you're dissenting at any level, they will come after you. And this two-tier policing that we've been seeing is not just something made out of thin air. It's two-tier policing that's now turned into a two-tier judiciary. I think it's wild for you to give people from Afghanistan or Syria leeway or a lighter sentence because they don't know what rape is, or they don't really know how to respect a woman's autonomy because their culture is different. Like, that is insane. And the fact that we're not deporting people because their sons could, like foreign chicken nuggets and they won't get
Yeah, I've read
that.
that.
I mean,
It's
tell
crazy.
me that we're not living in a nightmare.
But I think another thing is, I'm sure you will know this because, like, you've lived in Dubai, you live in Saudi Arabia. When you have Muslims, right? I will say this: the UK have got a really, really big problem, especially when you have Muslims living in the Middle East, like Saudi Arabia or Dubai, are more liberal than you have Muslims living in the UK, because the Muslims in the UK are extremists. They have come to a point where they want to use, but the Middle Eastern Muslims, a lot of them are liberal, like myself. Like I said, I'm not from America, I'm from Saudi Arabia. And then also when the Jewish people, when they are when they are allowed to walk easily on the streets of Dubai or the street of Saudi Arabia, saying that yes, we are Jewish, and they get no sort of harassment from the local people or from the Muslims there. And then you have the same Jewish people who cannot walk in peace in UK, in London, for say. I have seen numerous, after the October the 7th, I have seen numerous videos, numerous tweets, people saying that, oh, you know what, just because we are Jewish, we can't walk safely in the streets. So for UK to be a free country, a country where they welcome all religion, all race, and all gender and whatnot, and for them to literally see this, where the Jewish people are actually being targeted left, right, and center. And then you have the pro-Palestinian. If somebody as much as say anything that you're supporting that, we don't believe in that, please don't bring it into our face. Don't keep your hateful chants to yourself. Guess what? Police come after you and they arrest you. Like, this is great. And the thing is, look, I'm not very much I'm not very much aware of what do you say of aware of the Israel and Gaza thing. Like, I never, it got nothing to do with me. It's not my concern. But in all honesty, in my opinion, what I have seen on October the 7th, yes, there was a genocide, and that genocide was committed by Hamas when he turned up to a bloody festival and he raped and killed innocent people. I don't care where these people are from, but he did turn up to a festival. His thugs, his gangster terrorists, and they killed so many innocent people. What was that about? And then they want to cry everything that led after the October the 7th. You can't say that. And for these people, I see so many white people, a lot of them are convert of Islam, and they come to these pro-Palestinian rallies and they're like, oh my god, the kids are being killed, so you like it. So what they have started to call me, that I support baby killers. Basically, that's what they were saying about Israel. But I said to them, look, for me, I'm not literally, I am not in favor of kids dying either place. Like, kids are kids, innocent people are innocent people. I do not care if they're white, black, brown, Muslim, Jew, whatnot. Their kids are kids. So when I say to these people, they don't want to talk to me, and I ask them, like, you're sitting there and you're telling me about what's happening in Palestine, what's happening in Israel, what's happening in Gaza, Lebanon, and all these things. Have you actually visited any of these places? They got no answer. They'd be like, oh, that's racist. Well, I just asked them, if you're going to educate me or give me knowledge about a country that you've never been, most likely I'm not going to listen to you, because you have been brainwashed. So yeah, I'm not gonna listen to you. That's simple as that.
Yeah, and just kind of
But this
moving
is
on
how
from
crazy it is.
that conflict, because that's always going to cause insane
Exactly.
emotions and tensions. So I don't really want to go
No,
into
no,
this
I
whole
never
Israel.
go into this. Yeah, I'm not aware of it either.
Yeah,
But like I said, from what I see, this is what I say. We live in the UK. Let me support the UK, and that's it. I don't care about Pakistan. I don't care about Saudi or anywhere else. I live in the UK. I just want to be a patriot to the country that I live in. Simple as that. So this
yeah, which
it
brings
is
me. So
crazy.
I obviously have my own thoughts on the Israel-Palestine conflict, and I've made it clear before. I don't really want to go into it today too much, but I did
Yeah,
want to ask you in general. So, is it, before we go on, because there's still, I think I want to cover Saudi Arabia and then just
yeah,
what's
yeah.
happening in Wales, but I'm mindful of the time, and you still haven't eaten all day, so that's
It's fine.
stressing
Don't
me out
worry.
a little.
I'm gonna have a big meal after this as well. All good.
I really hope so. But anyway, I was going to ask you, is it possible to truly be a believing Muslim and be a patriot at the same time, in your opinion?
Well, I honestly believe it is. I know a lot of people, and obviously they are patriots. I speak to them. They are very scared, and I understand why. But obviously, I don't think you will see. I don't think I have seen anybody who comes out and speak the way I speak, comes out and say the things that I say while being a Muslim. But there are a lot of things that I have done, and I'm very proud of it. One of them is bringing a lot of people closer in a way that there were some people, they were off the back, they were like, oh, because you're a Muslim, you're Pakistani, we don't want nothing to do with it. And I could have been hostile to them, and I could have called my freedom of speech or racism or Islamophobia, but I didn't do that. I said to them, that's your opinion. I'm not going to change it. But they seen me over time. And this over time has become from being just their opinion to a friendship, where they actually, there are videos, there are people have done about me, and they say, look, Shoaib is an amazing guy. And guess what? He is a Muslim, and he's a good Muslim. And like I said, of course you can be a patriot and you can be a Muslim, but then there's a difference that you need to understand as a Muslim and a patriot. Me being patriot to the country, I'll show it to everybody because I live in this country. Me being a Muslim is between me and my God. I probably won't show it to anybody. This thing, if I'm a Muslim or not, has never ever come into any conversation with the people that I worked with, the people that I've been, unless the people who have asked me are the Muslim community. Like, so yes, you can be a patriot to the country like myself. You can love the country, you can love everything about it, you can respect the values. You don't need to be a part of everything. But for me, I literally, when there's a Christmas market, I love going to the Christmas market. I enjoy the pancakes. I enjoy everything about it. So I love it. I love these things. And if I did not like the Christmas market, or if I was against the Christmas market, then probably I'll try and move to a country where they don't celebrate the Christmas market, and all they do is eat and eat. This is my way of thinking, which I don't know if you have seen many. I have had many people while being, in the UK, who classify as Muslims. And then when we used to go out, they used to drink and they used to do everything. And like I said, I never used to judge them. They will be drinking and doing everything, and after that they'll be like, "Oh, you know what? I am a Muslim, so I need to pray." And I'll be like, "Yeah, you go ahead and do what you need to do." So it's for me, not only that I believe it is possible, I am the prime example because I'm doing just that. And if I was like, a Muslim in a way, then maybe I wouldn't have lost my job. Because for me, to, like you said, this the only time that you have a conflict between your religion and being a patriot to the country, because when you are given more importance to your religion. So let's say if I go and work, and I'm working somewhere, and every 2 seconds I'm like, "Hey guys, I need a break for 10 minutes. I need to go and pray. I need to do this." For me, if I needed to go and pray, I will do it in my break. I will not ask them to give me a separate time for me to do that, and bring it on everyone's face, or look at me, I'm a Muslim. If you don't do that, nobody can. You go on your break. Who cares where do you go? You get a half an hour, 45 minutes break. You go there. If you want to pray, you can quickly pray, and you can eat as well. You can still, you can still do all these things. But if you don't want to do it, it's up to you as well. So yeah, I believe you can be a patriot as well as you can be a Muslim, as long as you keep these two things separate. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's actually what I wanted to really ask you, that because, and that's why I'm grateful we're having this
And you
conversation.
can disagree with me. You can
Yeah,
disagree
no,
with
and
me.
I absolutely do, and I think you already know my stance on this, and the reason that I could have easily happily stayed within Islam, because I honestly thought a lot like you. Just even the way I was practicing it before I left it was very much personal, and I still considered myself British, if that makes sense. But at some level, I will say I disagree with you, because there was a little bit of cognitive dissonance in the sense that being a Muslim would, how do I say it? Being a Muslim would inform my opinion on global politics, international relations, things like that at some level. Whereas obviously now it informs it in a different way, being ex-Muslim, but still, I mean, the religion would seep into the way I thought about the world and I saw things. And naturally, studying Islam, I do know that at the end of the day, the end all and be all is that your loyalty will always lie with Islam first. But I really have a lot of respect and a lot of time for Muslims like you, for people around me as well, who are able to separate the two into nice, healthy compartments and say, this is a personal thing. This is manifested in the way I fast, the way I pray, the way I think of, I hold a God dear to me, but it doesn't kind of mesh in with everything else. And you're really able to understand the true nature of British values and not just accept them, but kind of purport them to the world and kind of defend them where you have to. So that's why I really wanted to have this conversation as well, just to show that it is, I know, because usually we're beating this drum that, moderate Muslims, as somebody has commented, they don't know that the Quran must be followed verbatim, including inherently violent verses, and they're constantly at a crossroads. And if you do, that's why I was saying to you earlier in the chat as a joke, that don't be too good of a Muslim, because too good of a Muslim equals to me, an outright jihadi. But
Yeah, like I said, I won't be too good of a Muslim, but I'll be a good of a character. Like I will have a good character. I'll be the type of man that I am. And like I said, I do understand. There are many ex-Muslims that I know, and obviously, in the beginning, they used to have a chat with me about these things. They'd be like, "Oh, how can you be a Muslim and this and that?" And I said, "Look, tell me, you've been, I've got these friends are with me for the last 5-6 years now, and every time I've asked them, I said, look, 6 years on now, what do you think? Do you not think that I'm not a preacher, by the way? Like, see, I don't like to preach. I don't like to say, oh, let's do this. I always like to lead by example. So if there's anything that I need to do or needs to be done, I will never sit there and tell people, oh, you know what, I'm going to do it. No, I will do it and let people see it for themselves. And that's why if there was ever a time somebody said to me that, oh, you know, we hate the Muslims, all Muslims are the same, and I'll be like, yeah, that's fine. I will never sit there and have a debate with them or try to change their mind. That's not, you know, that is not something I do. For me, I like people to look at me, for them to see me, see my loyalty to them, regardless, like I said, whatever their religion is. And I think this is the only thing. And you know what, in all honesty, I think you know it more than anyone else. If I today decided that I want to stop talking about Tommy Robinson, stop taking his side, that every single time I do, wherever I see somebody slating his name, I'll go there and I'll be like, no, no, that's not him. If I stop them, not only I'll get my job back, I'll get my livelihood back, I'll be welcome in every community. I'll basically be a free man. I'm not a
Oh,
free
you
man right
will
now.
be a hero, Shoaib, as well. You'll
Exactly.
be
I know. I
a
know.
living hero amongst us.
And that's the thing. So for people, like, I do understand your stance, I do understand your thinking, obviously I do get it. But then there are things that are happening to me right now that has not happened to me in the last 10 years. And as you know, that I am being on a visa put you in a very dangerous position where the home office can simply reject your visa and you can't do anything about it. Not only that, it's around £4,000 that I pay the home office to get my visa extended. Not only I will lose that, for me, I will my dreams will be shattered. I will have to move to Pakistan, a country that I've never lived in, a country that I don't really go to. So I got no connection whatsoever to Pakistan and everything. But that's what I'm telling you. For me, showing my loyalty to the country right now have cost me everything. I'm 37. I've never been to jail, but now I've been to jail as well. Why? Because I've been labeled a racist. Do you know how this is the only thing I had to do is shut everything down, stop taking Tommy Robinson's side. Because see, me taking Tommy Robinson's side or me taking side of the white people, the thing is, it doesn't help me. Nobody's giving me a medal. Nobody's coming up to my house giving me the money, saying, "Oh, you know what? Well done." I have absolutely lost everything. And even today, I have got the same stance that I am loyal to the country as well as to the amazing people, the people who showed me a lot of kindness, who are the British people. So yes, like I said, you can always disagree with me, and respectfully, I will be like, it's obviously your opinion, but I will always like people to see me for me and my character, not because of my religion or the skin color. But yeah, I think that's how I am, and that's how I see others as well. So I think
No,
that's I
I
could be one
respect
of the
that.
kind. You never know.
Yeah, no, I respect that entirely, and I just wish that the Muslim community would accept you, and your criticisms from within for their own sake. I obviously I take a different position entirely, but on behalf of every, on behalf of the police, and I know it means nothing, and it's of very little value, but on behalf of the British state, I really apologize for the fact that you have been put through the ringer just for expressing an opinion and trying to do the right thing and be on the right side of history and, say that I'm from this community, but hey, we have problems and we need to fix them and we need to look inwards and we need to call a spade a spade. So I'm doing that kind of stepping out of the fold, but you're doing it within the fold. And if they both present their own sets of challenges, I just don't think, as I said, anybody should lose how much you've lost in the process of doing that. And I think it's very telling of just where we are as a nation and in general, uh, as a society, that we've allowed that to happen to you, and for such a farce to happen where the counter-terrorist organization comes to your house worried about you spreading, let's say, extremist views in society, when you're standing up for white working class girls who have been betrayed and horrifically violated in so many ways I can't even begin to say. And especially on a day like this, an International Women's Day, I think they deserve a voice. And you were their voice from within the community. So yeah, I may disagree with you, but I have all the time in the world for you, and massive
Thank you.
hats off.
I know you have all the time. Yeah, I think I do remember. I was talking to you at that time, and it was very helpful. So yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
No, of course. I know, even though, we're fighting the same fight on so many
Yeah.
fronts. It seems like, we're in two different camps, but really we are fighting the same fight on many
Exactly.
levels.
Yeah.
So Shoaib, obviously I want you to go and enjoy your dinner very soon, but I did want to talk about we have a lot of parallels in our life, I guess, in the sense that we both grew up for a long period of time in Saudi Arabia, and you must have experienced a lot of Islam in Saudi Arabia growing up, and so did I. So if we could just compare notes on life in Saudi Arabia, and then we'll touch on what's happening in Wales, and then I promise you I will let you
No,
go.
that's fine. No, that's fine. Yeah. So I think with Saudi Arabia, I grew up in Jeddah. I don't know, you grew up in Jeddah as well?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So okay. So we both are from Jeddah, and I went to international school. Obviously, growing up, the first 5 days of my school life was in an international school where we have everybody there. And then after that, I went to a madrasa, which is Islamic school, a religious school, and that was all boys. So my school in the beginning, that was boys and girls. It was a mixed school, and then the Islamic school was only boys. And I think that is where I have a kind of awakening, because 4 years I was there. I was young. I was 11 years old, and I was there till the age of 16. And that was the place where I got sexually harassed by the qaris, by the not the imam but the teacher, yeah, the teachers there. And they used to do that to me 5 days a week for 4 years, like non-stop. It happened to me. And what they used to do before I used to go home, they used to beat me up to a point where I won't be able to walk. And they will do this. And now it's only now that I've understood why they've done that, that they will beat me up every single day. So when they beat me up, what they would do, they would expect me to go home and make a complaint. But like I said, in Saudi Arabia, from the age of 11 to 16, I had no knowledge of sex, or we never had the, what do you call it, the sex education. We never had this. So I didn't know what it was when they would make me sit on their laps and they will touch me inappropriately. I just didn't know what it was. So what they did when they would beat me up, they will just make it easier for them. If I were to make a complaint against them, they will do what I have now realized they used to do. They will say, oh, he's not a good student, and for that we have to beat him up. So I had that for 4 years. So when there are people saying to me that, oh, no, it's not the Pakistan, it is a Pakistani problem, because the people, my teachers, in madrasa, they were Pakistanis, Afghanis, and Bengalis. These three what do you call it, they were from these three countries.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they did that for 4 years. And after that I went to and then I left that 4 years, and then I went to school. That was again an international school, and that was a very, very good school, because then I was back in with boys and girls. We used to have a lot of parties in the school. I'm sure like the JP. I didn't go to JP, by the way. I'm not going to name which school I went to, but
Yeah.
there is Jitta Praia, there is JP, and all these places where we used to go for, we used to have a lot of parties, and we used to have a lot of festivals and everything. And that also changed. And the funny thing is, my school actually took a huge turn when I was in GCSEs. We actually have some of the Muslim converts came from the UK, from London. They came to Saudi Arabia, and this is the first thing they did. So my school was we had everybody there. We had Christians, we had Jews, we had Canadians, we had Americans, white, black, brown. We had everybody there, and we used to have some of the amazing time in the school. But then in GCSE, these converts came to our school. They took over, and the first thing they did a divide between the boys and the girls. So you can see where the mentality is coming from. So being in Saudi Arabia, we never had these boys and girls different. But the moment these Muslims coming from the West, from the UK, the first thing they put a divide between the man and the woman. And we didn't understand that. But then after that, the school just went downhill. It was all about no music in the school. It was all about you can't look at the woman. It was all about you can't dress this way, that way. And like I said, and this is the problem that I said, that if you have people and the Muslims from Saudi Arabia, they are more liberal than the Muslim, especially the convert are even more dangerous than the. And let me tell you, these were the converts. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
what, I don't want to say anything, because like I said, I don't want to go to jail.
No,
but yeah,
keep yourself
yeah.
safe in this conversation.
No,
Let me
but
say things for you that you can't say.
so yeah, that's what they did. They literally ruined the whole school, and basically we were forced to leave the school because it became a depressing prison in a way. Like we used to have all these parties, everything just stopped, and it was just like, yeah, that's it. You ruined the school, and that's it. But at that time, even I didn't understand the difference, and I didn't know. But yeah, just growing up in Saudi Arabia, obviously being a Pakistani, you get a lot of hate, you get a lot of racism from the Arabs. But then being a Pakistani, again, we were told to, if you want to be successful in Saudi Arabia, you listen from this ear, you let it out from the another ear, and that's it. And that's exactly what I did. And that's why when I came to the UK and I seen the people saying there's a racism in the UK, it was absolutely nothing. It was so mild, I didn't even I couldn't even notice it. So
I mean,
that
sure, honestly, isn't it true? First of all, I'm so sorry for everything you've experienced in Saudi Arabia. And again, it's meaningless for me to say it at this point, but there's so many millions of Shuaibs out there who have gone through the exact same thing at the hands of these sheikhs and imams and scholars and
they've
madrasa.
ruined their lives. I know some of them. I know some of the people
Absolutely.
that I went to madrasa with, and when I speak to them today, a lot of their lives have been ruined. I just don't know how I've come out the way that I am today, but I know people my age, younger than me, their lives has been ruined. When I speak to them, I feel depressed talking to them. This is all done by in the name of what religion, in the name of what we're going to teach your kids the Quran. Why? I'm against that 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, there's like sayings in Pakistan that who hasn't been touched by these imams and who hasn't been sexually harassed or abused, because it's so few and far between to go through the system and come out absolutely unscathed. And that just shows you like how glaringly severe the problem is. And I've always said this in all my videos, I would never, as a Muslim parent, with the knowledge that I have, send my child willingly to a madrasa. It's
I
just
will never.
not something I would do. There's even problems with calling Quran teachers to your own houses.
Yes.
You're still not safe when that happens. So I would say, if anything, you use the internet for those purposes. But again, I've left the fold, so I would say there's no need to even study the Quran in the first place. It's an absolute waste of time. There's so many better uses of your time. But just to kind of, just to back up your experience a bit. So I grew up in Saudi Arabia, same city, went to also an international school, had a British curriculum, and girls and boys were mixed. I think there was no changing that, thankfully, for the entire system, because that's the one condition, that it was a British school and is allowed to be co-ed. We did get taught Islam as Muslims, and that was slightly problematic. If you're a Muslim, you had to study it. But for me, I always say this, like when people ask me, oh my gosh, like how was life in Saudi Arabia? And I can't believe you lived in Saudi Arabia. For me, it was genuinely, as a young child, like from 9 to 16, I lived there. From about 9 to 14, it was heaven on earth. And I'm not just saying that because,
It's true.
obviously
I agree.
there were, right? Yeah.
I agree
So
100%. 100%.
counter to what it sounds very counterintuitive to what most
Yeah.
people think, but yes, I would hear of the beheadings, and you'd hear the call to prayer. And when I was there, I know it's not the case anymore, but there was the Islamic police, the
Yes.
mutawwa, who
But that
walk
was
around with their
not
sticks, and
anymore.
they're
Not
not
anymore.
anymore. Exactly how far Saudi Arabia has come. But when I was there, it was still a thing in the early 2000s.
But
But
do you know why there is no more mutawas anymore? Do you know why?
no, is this something to do with MBS or
No,
the
no, it was
the
before
power?
MBS. So what it is, the Mutawa gang, what they used to do, they used to go to the shopping center during the prayer time, and it was
Yeah.
in Jamjum. There was a shopping center. They were in there, and there was a princess actually in the shopping center, and her head was not covered. So these Mutawas thought they're going to go after a princess, because you can't tell everybody is a prince and a princess in Saudi Arabia because they got so many kids. So when they went after this princess, and they used to hit people with the stick. They used to have a little stick. So they were hitting her. It's only afterwards they realized it was a princess, and that princess just went after them. And along with the princess, there were all the Saudi people, because nobody liked the Mutawwas. Nobody liked
Oh
that
yeah.
religious police.
Everyone
Nobody.
feared them,
And that was it.
regardless of who you were.
That was the end of them. Yeah, that was the end of them. And it was such an amazing time. And I lived there till 2018. So I can tell you very recently. Of course, well, then now it's even a lot better. I got a lot of friends who went from UK. They don't want to come back. So yeah, I do agree with you. Like I said, it is a really easy life, a good life, a very happy life. You don't need to worry about all these Muslims coming after you. Is nobody bothers what you do. So yeah, it
Yeah,
was
no,
a good life.
exactly. And I remember them, pulling up in their cars with their sticks and forcing people to pull over and pray, especially Muslim men, like my father's age and stuff.
Yeah.
And they would just make life miserable for everybody, really. But for me, as a young child, I lived in a compound as well, so it wasn't an isolated villa. And I think I lived in one of the the more fun compounds out there. So it was like living, the way I try and explain it to English people here when they say, oh my God, but Saudi Arabia, I'm like, but think of it as like a holiday camp or like a resort, and you come back from school and you're living in this resort 24/7. So like there's a swimming pool outside your house, there's a like a center with bowling and all kinds of sports and activities going on. You've got your friends next door, you don't need to lock your door, everyone's riding their bikes, scooters, there's football. Like I was very sporty as well, so it was like honestly like a heaven. We had a skate park, amazing restaurants, like salons. It was just
And
everything you could
another
imagine,
thing,
little bubble.
no, but living in the compound, you never had to follow the rules of Saudi Arabia as well. That is another thing you need to tell people.
Oh, that's the major thing. That's why it was
I know
heaven on
about
earth.
compounds, yeah.
It's because the rules and laws of Saudi Arabia are essentially suspended. So you're living
Yes.
in a gated community where I had a quad bike I could drive, I could jump in the pool in a bikini. I was essentially living like I was living in the West, anywhere in America, England. It was like that, contained within those four walls. There was alcohol people were brewing in their houses. There were disco parties. You're mingling with boys the same way you would be in the West. It was just once you stepped outside those gates, the abaya comes on. You have to act a bit more, demure. That's probably the wrong word to use, but it's kind of very much like you got to show that you are, especially if you're a Muslim, you really
Yes.
take it on board to act a lot more conservative, not to be seen with boys. You have a very specific route with a driver when you're out, go there straight back, no kind of hanging around, no such things as cinemas to attend, be mindful of the mutawa, all
Yes.
of that kind of jazz. So
Not anymore.
not anymore, yeah. But I
Not
think it's
anymore.
just kind of like a contrast. It's so stark between within the walls of the compound and then outside of the compound,
Yeah.
which is why I enjoyed it, because Islam was suspended. So I
Yeah.
will just throw that out there.
Yeah, because and you are right. Like I used to go to a lot of compounds, the Saudi city and all of these places. I used to go there a lot. And like you said, once you're in there, first of all, and I think people need to know this as well. I don't know if you had the role. There was a compound. I won't name it, but there was a compound where Saudis were not allowed to go in. It was only the non-Saudis, like the expats and the foreigners, and also only the people will go in if they had somebody living there or they themselves will live in. Not everybody can go. It was a very tight security. So, for you to go in, even if you are inviting a guest to come to your house from outside, there are numerous checks that they have to go through. There is like they take your ID card. So, this it was a very controlled environment and it was a very safe environment. And to say there was another compound where I've seen girls driving the cars, because these compounds are so big, and I think people need to know this as well. These compounds are so big, they have their own supermarkets within the compound. So, like you said, you never have to leave. You just go to your school or you go to your work and you come back and you can just forget you're in Saudi Arabia. Obviously, now everything is open. Now there are cinemas. There are things even better than the West. So it is, and I would say this is all thanks to MBS. Like he's an amazing prince. I have to say he's done some really good things in reforming and opening, speaking openly about when the and then you have the Muslim of the West try to criticize him as well. So it's crazy. These people just cannot stop criticizing everybody. So. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
another.
exactly. And no, and you're right. It's basically like a city within the city that you're living in, and therefore it's bearable. And I've got a lot of videos talking about, well, when as I grew up and I wanted to do normal things like learn to drive actually in the real world, not just my quad bike in the
Yeah.
compound. That's when it becomes an issue. When you start wanting to, pursue relationships with people, it becomes an issue. When you want to do normal things like, why do I not have access to cinemas? I'm tired of pirated movies that get sold in the
We
compound.
used to get pirated movies so much. You see people walking in the screen and you'd be like, oh my God.
It's wild, I know. So yeah, it does start to kind of weigh on your mind. And like I said, there was always the concept of the beheadings, and it was in Jeddah, the city that Shoaib and I are talking about was still quite, silly to use the word liberal, but still quite lax and
Yeah.
relaxed compared to cities like Riyadh, which at the time were a lot more austere. And that's where Chop Chop Square was, which I've talked about before. But there were snippets of that even in Jeddah, and like I said, the religious
Yes.
police were
It did
everywhere.
happen in Jeddah. You're right. Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Beheading did happen in Jeddah. I know there were a lot of places that did happen. Obviously, for different reasons and stuff. But I think when I was growing up in Saudi Arabia, there was a time there was a lot of kidnappings were happening when they were kidnapping little kids for kidneys and that. And I think that's when in Jeddah a lot of beheadings was happening because what they were doing, the moment they were finding out who are doing the kidnappings, they were just literally chopping them off. So that was what's going on, I think, and that was the reason why it became more in Jeddah. But yes, you're right, it is more in Riyadh and the other cities than in Jeddah. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so also Shoaib, now obviously we did touch on the fact that you have made this country home. You kind of, something about this country made you want to stay here and adopt this as your home. But unfortunately, what I see happening in England at the moment, which is why I'm like, this is, I just feel so in despair about everything, like being in a waking nightmare. Very similar things are happening across the board. So, namely in Wales, where you currently are. If we could just kind of touch on the the rampant Islamicization that you see creeping in Wales, and I know you also mentioned what you experienced in the madrasa. We're seeing elements of that kind of sexual harassment and sexual abuse and physical violence, to the extent of physical violence, occur in madrasas in the West and here in Britain. So much so that a Welsh madrasa teacher was caught hitting one of his students. I think it looked like a madrasa or a mosque.
Yeah, yeah. It was. I think it was a mosque, and I don't know if it was in Wales, but I think it was. What was in Wales is actually there was a school in Wales where what they
Right.
have done, they had white kids, and it was a school. It was no madrasa, not religious, nothing, just your normal school where you send your kids. And what they did, they put the kids in headscarves, and they said, oh, it's something to do with inclusion. And obviously, you as an ex-Muslim and me as a Muslim, be honest. Like this is a question that I'm asking you. That do you not think if there was Muslim kids going to that school wearing a headscarf, and the teacher removed the kid's headscarf and say, "Oh, you know what? We're going to put you in a nun's dress because make you a Christian because we want to educate you." Do you not know the outrage that will be from the Muslim community? What do you think about that? Would you not think they will come out ready to kill people and all sorts of extremism that they will unleash
All
on
hell
people?
would break loose, Shoaib. Honestly, it
Exactly.
would be an
Exactly.
absolute carnage. Yeah.
So I think I will share the screen quickly so you can see that. Let me just do that because that is a post.
And I
Okay.
think, as you were saying, this was done in the name of anti-racism, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
yeah. This is the nursery. Yeah, it was an anti-racism event. You can see it on the side. Can you see my screen? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, we can. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So basically, this is where it says, that it was an anti-racism event, and you can see the kids here. You can see. Look, they have put them in headscarves, and you can see there is somebody there who is seems like a Muslim, but yeah. So they've done this, and can you just imagine? Can you just imagine if this was the other way around? The Muslim kids. So I will talk about this first. So
Yeah.
seeing this, me as a Muslim, imagine my kids were in this school and they came home and they said, oh, our teacher taught us to how to wear the headscarf. Even though, like I said, I am a Muslim, I will be outraged. I will tell them because, see, first of all, like you said, I agree with you 100% where you said, I will not send my kids to learn religion from a teacher, like, a Muslim teacher. I will never do that because I have been there and I know exactly what happened. So, no way in hell I will let my kids do that. And again, the second thing, I will not force religion on my kids as they're growing up. I would, like I said, I like to lead with example. I will let my kids see me the way I am. And I would like to be a role model to my kids when they look at me and they said, oh, you know what, I want to copy him. I don't want my kids saying, oh, I want to copy some movie star or a pop star and this and that. I want my kids to say, oh, you know what, I would like to copy my dad. Like, this is my mentality. So for somebody in the name of anti-racism day, they want to put headscarf on my kids, even though I'm a Muslim, I will be very offended. I will turn up to the school and I will say, whose idea was it? And guess what? I am brown. I am a Pakistani. I am Muslim. So you know what? I don't want this nonsense. And for people to use that and say, oh, the white people are racist. Guess what? I'm not white. Guess what? I am a Muslim. And I hate it if you do that to my kid. I would absolutely go mental. I will go berserk. They have not seen the kind of, I don't want to say it, but I will be so angry towards this. No, I don't care about your anti-racism there. And this is what it is. They use Islamophobia, and Islamophobia has been weaponized by these people. So you cannot criticize these Muslim Brotherhood, like, these organizations that are operating within the UK, and they have a lot of them has been actually started from the UK. So they are using Islamophobia, so you can't criticize them. And the moment you do criticize them, guess what? You're a racist. Police turn up to your house. You're in jail for 2.5 years for being hateful. Like, make it make sense. It doesn't make sense to me at all. So yeah, this was something, and this is happening in Wales. So for you to even think that this is actually happening, where they have these white kids put in there, and I actually commented on this, and somebody said to me, some white person said to me, "Oh well, we don't mind if they are doing it to our kids. I want my
Wow.
kids to learn." Exactly, and I said that, wow, and I said, not only wow, I said that is your problem, right? I don't care how you raise your kids, but I definitely care how my kids are being raised. So if you are going to tell me that you don't care, guess what? That is your problem, and that is the problem that we are seeing in the UK. UK being a Christian country, majority of the Christians either have lost their values, right? Either they have forgotten the British culture, and they are so easy and relaxed, so everything is fine. And that is the reason why we have all these brainwashed lunatics running around doing whatever they want to do on the street. And the moment now the white people are saying, "Oh, you know what? Hang on. Yeah, we have given you a little bit of freedom, but we feel like you've taken advantage of us, and I think we need to stop." The moment now the white people are doing this, you can see the new legislation is coming against the white people. There is so much racism towards the white people. It is unbelievable. So yeah, a lot of people do go around and say, "Oh, we don't mind, we don't mind." No, but I mind. I don't care if you mind or not. I mind. So you're
Yeah,
not gonna brainwash my kid in the name of that you don't mind. I mind, and guess what? I am a Muslim. I don't want this. So it's
exactly.
just crazy.
And I actually saw somebody tweet and comment under that tweet, and I was like, wow, that's a very good point. They mentioned that, had it not been this hijab, which is just to kind of placate Muslims and show that there's some level of indoctrination happening here in
Yeah,
schools, because you shouldn't be doing this to young little girls in school anyway. It's ridiculous. There's so many other ways to teach anti-racism if you're so hell bent on doing so, than making them adorn this ridiculous garb from the 7th century that is genuinely a tool of oppression. But anyway, that aside, there would be usually in a situation like this, there would be such a big outcry, let's say, of cultural appropriation normally.
yeah,
But because it's now having these hijabs being put on these little girls, it's just like, actually, we can sit and applaud this that's happening. But in any other situation, it would be like, oh, take that off. You're appropriating our culture. And I don't even mean to say culture, but people conflate culture and religion when it comes to Islam. But
yeah,
you're appropriating our religion, let's say. You don't see people trying on, other kind of things, that like the habit that nuns wear, as you said, or anything else. So there's that. But then there's also coming out of, I'm sure this is happening in Wales as well, but coming out of schools here in England, I hear that there are some actual schools, when they teach religious education, the Muslims are allowed to step out of that class because they use the card that their religion doesn't even let them learn about other religions. So they can step out,
yeah.
and then the other students have to learn all about Islam, and
Correct.
why they should bend over backwards to learn about why they should respect Islam. And so can you see the special pleading that obviously is creeping in at all levels, where you can put hijabs on little girls, you can force people to learn about Islam, the Muslims don't have to learn about any other religion. It's just not a level playing field. And that's
Exactly.
what really kind of irks me and gets under my skin, is because Islam has been getting these special privileges for such a long time now. And there's even an advert I saw for Wales, and I think it was to promote immigration to Wales. And the
Yes.
entire advert consisted of showing school
Little
age
kid.
girls.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
literally
You've
school
seen.
age girls showing why Wales is such a welcoming nation. And I was
Mm.
like, are you kidding me? This is what you're kind of showing to these young working, fighting age men, and
Yeah.
working age men, because they don't really come here and work either.
Yeah. No, they don't know.
And this is their first point of contact into why this nation is going to be so welcoming for you. It just seems insanely twisted
It
and
is.
very naive on the part of the Welsh people.
See, and I think that is the problem that I see in Wales. When I was moving to Wales back in 2019, I never thought that I will see anything like this, because I used to think of Wales is away from everything. It's in the valleys, it's in the mountains. You won't see these things. But unfortunately, what I have seen in Wales, it is, I would say, this is the most dangerous place to be if you are, like you said, if you're an ex-Muslim like yourself. Cities like Cardiff, the most dangerous city. Even I can't go to Cardiff anymore, because I have been
Wow.
told somebody, and this was the thing. So in Swansea, it is good. It is, everything is good. But I used to go to Cardiff for shopping, and somebody from the mosque, like I said, there are some good people there as well. They are like me. They keep their religion to themselves, and they don't like to get involved with everything. But I say to those people as well, if unless you're raising your voice against them, that means, what do you want me to think? I don't know. But it was good. One guy was good enough, and I think I did a live with somebody, and I said, "Oh, I'm gonna go to Cardiff, and I'm gonna do this." I literally had a phone call, and that guy said to me, "Do not go to Cardiff. Your picture, your car picture, your number plate, everything has been circulated within these groups. You know that Muslims, they have all these far right races, and I'm top of the far right watch whales. They call it far right watch whales. That is a group run by God knows who, but you can imagine who are the people doing it.
Yeah.
But what they have done is put my name everywhere. And that person said to me, "Do not go to Cardiff, because if you go to Cardiff and they see you, someone will stab you." Right? And this is a threat that I've gotten way before, because when I used to talk on a very lower level, like when I never used to do the YouTube and everything, I will be in the mosque and I will hear somebody say something and I will try to challenge them, and I'll tell them, this is not okay. So somebody from the mosque then who doesn't like me, he came to me and he said to me, "Look, the way you speak, you need to stop." And I say, "Why? This is my opinion. We live in a free country. You got your opinions and I've got mine. My opinion are not as much good as much as in yours. So, it's the same. We are in the same boat." So he said, "No, no, I'm not worried about that. I am worried about that there are some people, they will listen to you speak like this and they will come and stab you. Would you like it one day you're coming out of your car because everybody knows where you live and they come and stab you? What will happen for your family? What happened to your parents? What happened to your loved ones?" Like these are the type of thing they did to me. And when I did not listen, basically I wasn't scared of these people. I was like, you do what you need to do and I will see what happens. But literally after that, I lost my job. I got prevent. When they couldn't control me, they couldn't intimidate me. This is now they're using these powers. And this is the worst thing. When I talk to the British people now, whenever I speak to them about about the future, about the past of the country, UK used to be, whenever you used to talk to a British person, they will talk about a better tomorrow. They're always like, "Oh, you know what, we are working and thriving towards a better tomorrow, a good future, a bright future." Now when you speak to them, all they can talk about the light in the past, about what has happened in the past. "Oh my god, we love what happened 5 years ago. We love what used to happen 10 years ago." Because the people are so scared of the future, because people are, like you said, we are living in a really, really bad dream. There are people who are just sitting there and they're hoping that we can just wake up from it and everything just can go back to normal, where we are free to do what we want to do. We are free to say what we want to say, and you won't be worried about police turning up to your house. This is this is like, it is the most dangerous thing that is happening right now in the country, and it is more dangerous to the white people. And I have been asked by many people, and I will say to you, because I know a lot of people have asked me this: "Oh, why do you do it? You're not British, you're not from here, you're not born in the country, you are brown Pakistani. Why don't you just pack up and leave?" Like, I say to everybody, if you hate the country, pack up and leave. So to those people, I say a few things. One of them, I feel like, people telling me, "Oh, why don't you leave the country?" is, I think, like, it's like a test of my loyalty. And when I talk about loyalty, is my education is from the country. My bachelor's, my master's, everything that I own today, it is given to me by the country from the hard work that I've done, which I always believed in. That if you work hard and you work good enough and you are capable of the job that you are doing, you can do wonders, which I have done in the last 4 or 5 years. I've got some of the most amazing things that I own, and it's, like I said, it's all given to me by this country. So, and that has only happened when the people of the country, and I'm talking about the white British, because being in university and when working, I was working with a lot of white people, and a lot of these white people used to be very kind to me. Every time I had a problem, I needed anything, they will always help me. They will always ask me questions. They will always guide me what I need to do. And the guidance from these white people was always the good one. And when you go and talk about your own community, and I needed guidance in the beginning, and I was so scared going to the white people, my friends, because I used to think, "Oh, they're racist. They're not going to help me. They're going to make fun of me." But you go to imagine you go to some of your family members. They are already been in the UK from the last 50, 60 years. You ask them anything, the first thing that comes out of their mouth is something dodgy. You talk about something, they'll be like, "I'll do this or do that." It's easier that way. So, and I say, thank God for my character and the moral values that I hold, and I've been holding it from a very long time, that I never listened to them. And I thought, what they are saying to me not only jeopardized my future, but it also put me in a place where I want to talk about the corruption, the negativity. I can't talk about if I've committed those crimes myself. On what basis do I talk about it? Like I said, I'm a man who lead by example, and like I said, I've got very high standard. I've got a very high morality that I follow. So because of my standards and because of my moral values, I thought I'd ask these white people. And like I said, look, when they have helped me with everything, 8 years on, yes, you are right. Yes, a lot of people are right. Why don't I leave? I can go to Saudi Arabia, find myself a job, and live there a happy, easy life. But I think that is me betraying the white people who have actually helped me. You know why? Because they can't leave. It could be because of anything, money. It could be because of monetary reason, financial reason. They couldn't leave because they are in an age. They're in their 50s, in the 60s. I got neighbors who are elderlies.
But
I
also,
can't
like,
expect.
why should they? This is their home. And I
Exactly. So no, no, and that's what I'm saying. And see, this is the reason why I say I want to stay here and fight. You know what, Nuriyah? I think you're the person amongst quite a few other people. You know the extent of what I have lost. So, to
yeah.
even say that I have lost a few things, it's an understatement. I have basically lost everything.
Mhm.
And why? Because I had an opinion. I'm not a hostile person. Like I said, 37 years old I am. I never ever had any criminal record. I don't have as much as a speeding ticket. Like, I like to abide by the rules to the T. This is how much I follow the rules. So yes, when people say, "Why don't you leave?" Well, like I said, it is a test of my loyalty. It is the test of my patriotism to this country. I do believe, and I will still believe, that I am a patriot to the country, and I always will be. So yeah, in that case, I would like to stay here, and especially from the 1st of April, when the white people will be the most vulnerable people, especially if there were to be a crime, committed. Either they've said something, they will be treated more harshly than people like me, because I am Muslim. I am an ethnic minority. Well, not a minority, but I come from those places where they will be given us a little less harsher punishment than the white people. So for that, yeah, I would like to stay here, and I would like to fight the fight. But I want to start off by saying that the justice system should be equal to everybody, regardless of your race, religion, or anything. And especially if you come to this country, right? Either you come on a boat, or I say keep simple, either you come on a dinghy or you come on a plane. There are rules to be followed, and if you can't follow them, just go. And I'm talking about myself. The day I commit a crime in this country, I become a criminal. I would not expect any special treatment, and I would expect the government to tell me, you know what, you have committed a crime. We want you to leave, and I will leave. I will literally leave. But that's the thing. That is not me. I'm not here to commit crimes. I'm not here to tell people, oh, you need to follow my ways or my rules. No, I knew full well this is a Christian country. I knew full well the values and the culture and the British rules that you need to follow, and I'm following that. And I think that is my crime. That has become my crime now with some of the communities. They see me as a threat, even though, like I said, I'm not a hostile person. I've never been into any fights or anything. But because of what I say, and because what I say makes sense, they just can't let me open my mouth anymore. They hate it. So yeah, this is where I am.
Yeah, I honestly, I mean, like you said, I know the extent of what you've gone through and what you've lost just for speaking your mind, and like it boils my blood to the core. And I just think you are, in general, like an upstanding human being, but an upstanding citizen as well, like of this country. And there are a number of people in the chat who are saying you can't be a Muslim and a patriot, but I think throughout this conversation you have proven otherwise. Like, and I think the reason that you're even able to tolerate some of the things I say as well shows that you more than can navigate many a different kind of like
I think my,
hats at
my,
the
my
same
mind
time.
work very differently. Like I said, I
Yeah,
I have had friends now who've been my friends for 6, 7 years. In the beginning, when I met them, they just hated me because I was a Muslim, and now we are best friends. And like I said, look, everybody got a right to their opinion. I'm not going to sit in and get offended. I don't get offended at all. So if people think you can't be a patriot as well as a Muslim, that's absolutely fine. Your opinion. Mine. Like I said, it's my opinion. I keep it to myself. I just like to be a good character, a good human being, and that's it for me.
and I
That's it.
think that's like it's plainly obvious for people to see, and when they hear this conversation, whenever they decide to listen to you, I think that is the takeaway that they would go away with. I mean, I can't project my opinion on my feelings or onto anyone else, but that is genuinely what I think, knowing you for a while now and speaking to you. And I would go as far as to say, honestly, if just in terms of Islam, if Muslims thought like you and the majority of them acted more like you, then I would take down my channel tomorrow. There would be no need to
No, I wouldn't
even
want to take down channel. Yeah.
there would be no need for it, honestly, because that is the kind of world we aspire to. That if this faith becomes such a personal thing, and the way that you deem to hold it, and the fact that you hold the country that you've called home in such high regard now, and you know that you will put that before other things, even if in the face of losing your livelihood, being in fear of your community. Sorry to say, but your life is at risk if you were to go into your local mosque and try and offer prayer, which is a normal thing you should be able to do in this country as a practicing Muslim. That right shouldn't be taken away from anybody either. I'm strongly against that. And the fact that you can't do it and you have to watch where you go and watch what you say. And then on the flip, you've been interrogated by the police for completely other things about where your loyalties lie and what you're saying. It's just, I do worry, like, how do we come back from this? But like people like yourself, especially from within the Muslim community, and also I will say, even from a Pakistani background, give me a lot of hope for, you are a stellar example of the kind of immigrants that could come here and add value to this country. And I think you're the kind of immigrant that we aspire to have in this country and become part of the social fabric, instead of importing all these people who are, coming over. I know, again, they're risking their lives, but coming over in the hundreds, in their droves, on these dinghies from France and what have you, just to have a chance at a better life here, but then to never like contribute in a net positive way to this country. In fact, to kind of push for things like we're seeing today, where two-tier justice is going to become a thing, and we have to make concessions because maybe they're not, like us, or they're not from the same ilk, or they don't understand morality the way we have. And it's like, I don't feel like Britain has an obligation to spoon feed all of these other cultures that might be a lot more aggressive than us. And we don't need to bend over backwards and put our lives at risk to accommodate them. Again, this is why it's it might be like people might be thinking, well, Muslims watching it might be thinking, why are they, getting so worked up about little girls wearing hijab? Well, we are getting worked up
I am.
because,
Like I said, I'm a Muslim. I don't want nobody putting a hijab or the topi on my son or my daughter. I don't want it, and I'm a Muslim. I don't want nobody. I'll do it. If I want to do it, I'll bloody do it. They're my kids. You don't have no right to do anything to touch my kids or to tell them what they should or shouldn't do. That is unacceptable. As simple as that. So if people want to say why we are getting worked up, I'll tell you why. Because if my kids were in there, believe it or not, I will be turning up to that school and I'll be like, you know what? You need to shut down. You need to shut down the school, because not only you have betrayed our trust where we have sent our kids to you, trust in you that our kids will be safe. You will not brainwash our kids, actually teach them something that they can use. I can teach my kid how to wear a headscarf. That's not your job. Let's not do the parents' job for them. Do what you're told to do. You are a teacher. Teach them about the school things or whatever we are sending you there for. Simple as that. But I
touche.
think,
And that's a Muslim saying that. That's not even me as an
yeah,
expert.
no, that's why I said you don't say that. I'll say it. I'll say
Yeah.
it. I will say it. And I think there was another thing that I was in a space. I'm sure you know that there was a guy who burned the Quran in front of the Turkish embassy in London, and where he was attacked by another guy with. So I was in a space, and somebody did ask this question, and I don't know where you stand on it, but I'll give you my stance. Obviously, the guy was the guy who burned the Quran. So for me, I come from a family, and I come from a very educated family. And for me, I keep knowledge very close to my heart. So I would not even think about burning the English literature book like ABC or anything, let alone anyone's religious book. But what happened that day where this guy actually burned the Quran, if I was to be there, I would have actually protected that guy from the knife wielding guy, only because it is his right. Like, some people, like I like to give my opinions by talking to people, by debating with them, by letting them know my side of the story and everything. And then you have the people who like to be hostile. Hostility is never acceptable, especially when we live in the UK, where you have freedom of expression, which means you can express your views in the way you want to view. So if he was burning the Quran, did it offend me? Not at all. Would I do it? I wouldn't do it. But if he's doing, I'll tell him, full well, please do it. It's not against the law. You can do it. But if I would have seen that guy running up to him with a knife, I 100% would have protected the guy, the one who was burning the Quran, from the knife wielding guy. 100%. There is no question about it. So, people can say you can be a patriot, you can be a Muslim. It's not about that. It's about what kind of character you have, what kind of human being you are, how much can you actually think without bringing the religion in, without getting your feeling hurt. Getting your feeling hurt because of somebody have said something against somebody or your religion. It is, I think this is absolutely ridiculous for people to even support the guy who was trying to knife the guy. And I'm sure you know that the guy who was trying to burn the Quran, he went to jail and he was in custody for a couple of hours. But the other guy, actually, the guy who was actually trying to knife him, he was bailed. And I was like, how did we get to this? Like, literally, why would you put someone in jail for expressing their freedom of speech, the very right that everybody have in this country? So, like I said, I was asked this question and I thought I'll answer it for you before some. And I think I've seen somebody in the comment talking about that. So I said, I'll give you my point of view. And like I said, this is just my opinion and this is my point of view. And I think that way. I know a lot of Muslims won't think that way. If anything, a lot of the Muslim from the Muslim community have called me an ex-Muslim, which has even made me a bigger target to these people who knows me or who think I'm an ex-Muslim because I don't parade around with my praying mat and praying in the middle of the street. So they do these stupid things. And when I say this, that I will actually protect the guy who's trying to burn the Quran, because it does not sit right with me that you can be violent on somebody just because they're trying to practice their freedom of speech or freedom of expression. I have been a target for that as well. They have called me everything, and I was like, you can call me what you want to call me. I don't care, but this is my opinion. So yeah, I just thought I'll answer that one for you as well without you asking.
No, yeah, no, thank you. A lot of people in the comments were saying like respect and salute to you for that. Again, like I'd say, your thoughts patterns and your kind of just your general behavior and decorum is a lot more different to what you normally associate with Muslims. So it's hella refreshing to see and hear that. And like I said, there's a lot of hope entrenched in what you're saying and the kind of approach you take to life, just life situations like that. Understanding the importance of free speech here, which Keir Starmer said the other day to JD Vance, we have a very,
Yeah.
very long history of free speech, but I question, mate, do we really in light of recent events? But I'm with you. I'm not really one for burning books myself, but I will defend to my death somebody's right to do that if that's if that's what they want to do. But yeah, no, thank you for covering that. And Shoaib, if you don't mind, I've just kind of told people we're going to be wrapping up, so that I've just said, got any specific questions for Shoaib that you're comfortable answering, we can ask you, and then we'll get your final thoughts and wrap up. Is that okay?
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. I would just like to give a shout out to my team here, Voice of Wales. These people in Wales, they're doing amazing work, and they're my, what do you call it? It's they're one of the people. They're white people, and they have helped me so much. And I have to thank them. It's the Voice of Wales, Dan, Steph, and Stan, and everybody else. And these guys have been amazing. I've got like Richard Inman, Paul Thorpe. Like I said, the amount of help and the amount of amazing thing that these people have done for me when they didn't have to. Believe me, these people didn't have to do it, but they've done it. So I just like to thank them, and that's it. Yeah.
Oh, well, I'd like to also extend my gratitude towards them as well for helping you. I saw that video as well when they sat down and spoke to you when everything was kind of kicking off in Wales.
Yes.
So yeah,
They have helped me so much. You won't believe it. Voice of Wales have put their everything around me. They literally dropped everything. They put everything around me. And like I said, the way they have helped me in such a small period that I've known them for the last 6-7 months now, my God, I cannot even begin to thank them. Like, literally, it's just beyond me thanking them. Like, they have been there for me. Like, when my own community trying to put me in jail, trying to put me through this hell that I'm going through right now, it is these people, the so-called far right people. I'm sure Paul Thorpe and Richard Inman and these guys. You must have heard about them. Again, these people don't need to help me. These people don't owe me anything. I don't owe them anything. But for them to go above and beyond and do what they did, it just literally squashed the when the people say, oh, the far right racists. Where are the racists? For me, the biggest racism that I've endured from is from the Muslim community. The biggest racism that I have from are the Muslim community, are the Muslim people. So I don't know what they're talking about, the white people. I've got no threat from the white people. The biggest threat that I've got is from the Muslim community. So I don't understand why they keep talking about the white people, the far right races, this and that. I think they need to start looking at themselves. That's it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. And I just, before we get onto a couple of the questions and wrap up, I just want to comment on that because a lot of the time I hear from South Asians like ourselves and basically non-white people, brown people, black people, that racism is like this. It's kind of something that only non-white people can comment on and only non-white people can experience. And I absolutely have such an issue with that now, because again, there's so many times where, you know, white people are genuinely at the receiving end of racism. And Shoaib, you alluded to it earlier in the conversation, but I just want to say I've grown up in the Middle East. I come from Pakistani descent. I know from the Arab world, I know from the South Asian culture, the level of racism towards white people, towards Black people. I mean, they have a serious, serious problem with racism internally, both Arabs and South Asians as communities and cultures. For them to kind of hold up the mirror and try and call white people racist is so beyond the pale to me, because they are some of the biggest racist perpetrators that you can come across, especially if you get privy to their inner conversations and you hear what they say behind closed doors, and some of the kind of casual jokes and the words that they have for people of these races. It honestly is enough to make you kind of sick and leave a really bad taste in your mouth. And I work in the violence against women and girls sector in England, and a lot of the time, women that come from South Asian, Pakistani, even Sikh, or other communities, especially like Persian, Arabs as well, in their major time of distress, when they are fleeing an abusive relationship or trying to leave the perpetrator and access help and stand up for themselves, and, you know, not be violated or be physically hit anymore, it's not their own community that comes to the rescue. Their own community is forcing them and pressurizing them to go back. It's usually the case that they have a white best friend, or a white person they saw in the I hate even using the term white. It's just so reductive into like this colorism I don't like. But for purposes of this conversation, I will say it's usually like, you know, somebody from outside their community who is white for all intents and purposes, that has helped them get to safety, or given them that extra confidence, or given them the leg up, or given them a bit of money, or something to get to the place where they can access safety. And again, it's those few cases I meet where they actually have like a revelation. And when I'm doing my first kind of key work session with them, they're like expressing to me how this white person helped them, and that was not what the impression they had of white people to begin with, and they were so shocked that white people were so nice. And that just goes to show you the level of conditioning that they have towards them without ever have interacted with them or built friendships with them, that it takes something like that for them to realize that, hey, these people maybe aren't just okay, they're very nice and they're very helpful, and, you know, they're not judging me by the color of my skin, or they're not othering me because I look different and what have you. So yeah, I just like to dispel that entirely, that when people do actually come into like contact and interact with them, where our communities don't really do that, Shoaib, they're so insular, and they refuse to integrate. And again, sorry, I know you're still Muslim, but Islam also tells you that, you know, Jews and Christians, you shouldn't take them as friends. And a lot of Muslims take that very seriously. So they might say, oh, hi, Steve, how was your weekend at work? But they're truly never going to befriend you. So yeah, that is just kind of an observation that I've had here. I know it's anecdotal, but it's kind of a recurring experience that I've had working in the sector and coming from the background that I come from.
Yeah, and I think you see more of that in the West than you see it in the Middle East. Like I said, in Saudi Arabia, when I was growing up, obviously I was there till 2018. I had all kind of friends. I had Muslim, Jews, I had Christians, I had white, black, all friends. We never had any issues. And like I said, I lived there for 28 years of my life. It's only when I came to the UK, you're absolutely right. Yes, they take a lot of the negative thing very, very seriously, where they will be fake and lying to the Christians, like you just said, hey Mark, hey Steve, hey this and that. Behind their back, they'll be like, yeah, we don't want nothing to do with them. So yeah, that is very true. And like I said, I have seen that, but I have only seen it in the UK. And I think that is even the majority of the reason why I do try to raise my voice against these kind of behavior, because I don't agree with it. Second, look, I like to see people and I like to judge people from their character, what kind of human being they are. And for me, that is it. I don't care what they do in their personal time, which church they go to on a Sunday, or what they eat. They eat bacon or not. That's none of my business. so yeah, as long as they are of a good character, they are a good human being. That for me, that is it. Nothing else matters to me at all.
Touche, Shoaib. Well said. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to rush through. We're just going to take maybe like 2 or 3 questions tops, because we've taken a lot of Shoaib's time, and I I'm
No,
salivating to eat for him at this point. So, um, uh, yeah, thank you so much for your support. Sorry if I butcher your name, Uriel or Uriel. Sorry if I said that wrong. But I think the point of this comment was just to say, when you go against Islam, basically in everything that you say and act, and you're Muslim in name only. But I think it was just a comment. So you don't really need to. Oh well, I guess this is again, Shoaib. Any comments that are kind of that you don't want to answer or don't feel comfortable, and for your safety is paramount. So let's bear that in
yeah.
mind. But there's a question here from B. Shoaib, from a very open-minded and hearted place, I'd genuinely be interested in the parts of the faith that you keep within it. If you'd want to share, obviously, yeah, if you want to
Yeah,
share.
yeah, yeah. That's fine. Yeah.
Not now, you can talk about this another time in terms of the tenets of the faith that you align to, etc. Did you want to
All
comment
right.
on that?
Yeah, yeah, of course I do. But I'm just trying to see what generally interested in the parts of the faith that I keep. Oh, so what are the things that I keep to myself? Is that
Oh
what
no,
they're asking?
I think the question is more to do with what about Islam keep you within Islam? What parts of the faith
Oh, right.
make you
Okay.
attracted
Okay.
to stay in it?
Yeah, I think for me growing up as well, and it could be me being naive, but as when I was growing up in Saudi Arabia, the only thing that I was taught in, well, like I said, I went to very good schools. Everything that I was taught about religion, and again, it does a lot of things comes from the home schooling as well. Like when you see your parents, the way they behave, the type of religion that they follow, and what they do. I have seen a lot of positive things. Like I said, when I was coming to the UK for the very first time as a student, obviously I used to come here on holidays in 1992, 93. But in 2008, when I was coming to the UK the very first time as a student to do my bachelor's, there were a lot of Asians. They were there, and they have never been to the UK, but they were telling me how racist the white people are, how racist they will be towards me because I'm a Pakistani. I've got an accent and everything. So I think it was my father who said to me when everybody left, he said to me, "Look, I don't want you to listen to these people. I want you to go to the UK and I want you to judge these people on your own accord. Like you need to give them a chance. You cannot make up your mind from here and you go there and you be like, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to give them a chance." So I think for me, where the thing that you just said as well, that people say that you cannot be friends with the Jewish and the Christians. I always have had friends, even till today. As I was growing up, we had engineers who are from Italy, who are from Germany, who used to come to Saudi Arabia, who used to visit us, who used to live with us. And like I said, 38 years on, 37 years on, I still know them. So and they are not Muslims. Yeah, if it was something to do with or we pretending to like them, I'm sure in 4, 5, 6 years when we were done with them, we didn't require their service. So with that we wouldn't how do you say we wouldn't be friends with them. But like I said, even till today, not only they are our friends, I call them my uncles. Like I said, they're from Italy and from Germany. They're not Muslim, but this is what it is. So for me, talking about the faith is I grew up in a very, very positive environment. And unfortunately, in the West, I feel like it's all negative. It's all like, oh, we need to take over the world. We need to take over as this. To be honest, for me, I don't want to take over anything. I want to have my nice things. I want to have my nice house, my nice car. And for me, that is it. A nice job. As long as I can live happily. I've done that for 37 years. I honestly don't think I have the willpower or anything to change myself in a way that I'll be like, I'm going to take over the world. I honestly, yeah. So for me, that is my faith. And this is how, like I said, because it's so positive that I grew up in, even though to say this as well, I am the one who have endured one of the most biggest crimes against kids. Like I said, when I was kid, I was sexually harassed for 4 years. I don't see anybody who have been through that and come out and say these things the way I say it. So still, I hold on to the positive things while I do acknowledge the negative. And I think that is the thing. I do see the positive and negative. I'm not one of those people who have something wrong is done to me in the name of religion, and I'm like, and I'm sure a lot of people like that. Many bad things have happened to them in the name of religion, and guess what they said? Oh, it's okay. It's in the name of religion. I have to do it because I'm a Muslim. No, like you will see girls who don't want their husband getting married, having the second or the third or the fourth wife, but they will do it in the name of religion. Oh, I hate it. I don't want my husband going anywhere else, but guess what? I'll do it for the name of religion. I wouldn't do that. I would never do that. I would never go and be like, oh, I need to have 4 wives, even because I can. And I know a lot of the converts see that and they're like, oh my God, we can have 4 wives. Oh, yeah. And I know a lot of the convert who are actually married and they got all 4 wives. Like I said, I come from the religion. My father is not married to 4 women, and I will never ever would want to do that either. So, yeah, you can pick and choose. Obviously, I know a lot of people say, oh, that's not religion. And that is the reason why I keep my religion private to me, because yes, I do a lot of picking and choosing, and I do speak against a lot of things. People can come with the religion and they can say, oh yeah, we do this in the name of religion. I'll tell them no. I'll give them facts, I'll give them common sense, and that's why they hate me. That is the only reason why they hate me. So
Yeah,
yeah, I
no,
hope
I
this
really
answers the question.
appreciate that. No, it definitely did, and I appreciate your answer. I obviously, so many people around me have the same viewpoint as you, and it really allows us to kind of coexist, and we live a beautiful life because of that. In my humble opinion, I will say you are far better. I'm going to blaspheme a bit, sorry. You're far better than Muhammad and Islam because you don't do those things and you apply common sense and rationality and you disregard many aspects of Islam. But I would much rather be talking to somebody as level headed as you today, who is self aware in the fact that you even cherry pick some parts, maybe, or you tackle it with rationalism or common sense as opposed to verbatim what was said 1400 years ago. So I really appreciate that. And I hope, B, that does answer your question because Shoaib answered that very thoroughly. We have a little bit of a light-hearted question. I'll save that right till the end. But the final question in terms of serious chats, Shoaib, is from Hisham. Is Wales just as bad as the UK in regards to a lack of integration, or is it only Cardiff?
Well, I wouldn't want to say anything about UK because I used to think that London is a lot more dangerous than Cardiff or Wales. But unfortunately, living in Wales, I have seen that I won't be able to say about UK because UK is such a big place. I feel like living in a small city where everything is controlled. In my opinion, I feel like it's controlled by the Muslims. So yeah, I feel like Cardiff and Swansea, I think they are more. There is a problem. Yes, there is a big integration problem, and nobody here like to integrate. And I'm talking about the people who are from here. They also don't like to integrate. So, yeah, unfortunately, Wales is, I would say, a little bit more worse than the UK because, like I said, when you have a small place, you notice everything. In UK, there are a lot of things that that goes under the rug and all that, but in Wales, you see everything. So, yeah, I would say Wales is a little bit more dangerous. Everybody knows everybody. So, if you are a target, guess what? You are a target. So, yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. I did come to Cardiff a couple of months ago, but I'm glad I didn't accidentally rock up in an extremely Muslim neighborhood. But there are, like, London. What I love about London is that still there's chances for you to kind of like move a little bit further somewhere and almost start over, and people don't know you, and you can kind of reinvent yourself as many times as you want. I just don't think that's possible in a place like Wales. But then the same logic applies to integration, as you're saying. People know everybody. It's a lot more of a close-knit community. I'm guessing if there's something as effective as no-go zones similar, it would be really amplified. And also, just to comment on what Shoaib was saying about he doesn't marry four wives, which I I really respect that. Another caveat is that that's not really the done thing with Muslims outside of Arabia per se. Like Pakistani Muslims, it's not really something they usually lean towards doing. They're quite, well, no, I wouldn't say they're happy. A lot of them are unhappily married, but they're usually quite monogamous in terms of their marriages. And whereas growing up in Saudi Arabia, you would drive around and you would see like a villa, and then you'd see four exactly equal, like, copycat villas of that one, and then you know that, okay, this man has got four wives and he's keeping those wives, what good, according to the rules of the Quran, treating them as equally as he can. So yeah, it's more of an Arab phenomenon, I would say,
Yeah.
in terms of
But yeah, it is. I do agree with it. It is more of the Arab thing. But I think in the West especially, the converts, they have held on to that, and I'm saying it from experience. I have seen so many converts. They've got
oh
four
yeah,
wives, three wives,
oh, it's
and
a huge incentive, right, to join Islam for some
yeah,
men, of course.
exactly. That and
Yeah.
the 72 versions when you die.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can tell why, like, oh, sorry, I don't like blaspheming in front of you now because you're too nice of a human, and I'm like, I want you to. It's like how I am around my family. Okay, I won't say it. So the last question, Shoaib, and then I'll get your final thoughts. Is
Yeah.
gotta be asked. It was bugging me the whole time as well. I'm like, Hammer Time 44 is saying, please ask Shoaib if he wears the Superman suit behind him.
Yeah, I do. I do wear it many times. I've done a lot of videos. I think Candid with Lubna, I was I was on her chat, on her live, and I think I did a talk with her as well, and I was wearing my Superman costume. Yes, I do wear my Superman costume a lot.
Oh, wow. Okay. So Hammer Time 44, the answer is a resounding yes. And I feel like if you want to see Shoaib in that, then you can scroll to his YouTube and maybe find Lubna and find this video
Oh no,
because,
yeah, they will find it straight away. I've got quite a few videos that I did wearing my Superman costume, but yeah.
oh, Superman himself is creating YouTube videos. There you have it, folks. But no, thank you so much to everybody that posed a question for Shoaib. I'm sorry we don't have time to answer more. I am mindful that he's been fasting all day. Shoaib, over to you. Any final thoughts, comments, anything, and where can people find you more importantly as
I
well?
think yeah, yeah. Well, obviously my YouTube, but then I do have my X as well, which is the link in my YouTube, which is my Twitter. And yeah, these are the two main places where I'm more active. Obviously, YouTube, I'm trying to do a little bit more, but I think with everything that's going on, I do get a little bit more cautious now. But which I just wish I didn't have to, because you're never too sure. You can say something and people just go like, "Oh my God, he's offensive. He said something," and you got to please turn up. And I know it's easy to say, but because it has happened to me, it feels, I'm not gonna lie, it do feels a lot more, because every time now, and like I said, I'm not easily scared guy. I would say, like, I say all these things, and I'm sure you can understand more than anyone else how hard it is for being the community that we are from, and how hard it is while being a Muslim and speak the way I am speaking, and the things that I say, and the people that I support, like and so yeah, it is hard, but and I wish it wasn't the case, but I do, as I said, I do understand how a lot of the white people are feeling, how a lot of the people who are from this country, who have lived here their whole life, their grandparents probably went to war for this country, and now they're seeing exactly what is happening. So I do understand when they say that, we are offended, we don't want immigrants in the country, and I don't want to, I don't want to change them. I don't want to change their mind by saying, oh, you need to love all the immigrants. But I would say, you need to give a chance to the people that you believe in. Like, you don't need to be there, and you need to be like, oh, you know what, yes, we want all the immigration. And if people don't want immigrants in the country, again, it is their right. After what has happened in the last 6 years, the rapid speed everything has changed since last year. I am angry. Even I am angry, and I feel like I came here and I paid £4,000 to the Home Office, while I've got people turning up in dinghies and they're coming in for free, and they get everything. If anything, they get more rights than I get. I don't even. I'm not even entitled to any benefits, and I lost my job and everything. So I feel like working hard in this country. Obviously, before it was you work hard, you get the rewards, and that's it. But now, if you work hard in this country, I feel like they are coming after you. They don't want you to be a patriot to this country. So I would say to anybody who's watching, and obviously who's white and who is from the country, I will say that, I will stand shoulder to shoulder right next to these people, and I will fight the fight that we'll fight, and we try to be as legal as we can, because these days you have to make it very clear that we're going to fight the legal fight. We're not going to turn up and do stupid things. So yeah, I just wanna. So yeah, I think this is my message to for anybody who's scared, who's worried. I am going through it. I have been through it, and Nuriyah, of course, you know it firsthand. I am still going through a lot of things right now. Obviously, I wouldn't want to discuss that just yet. I will hopefully somewhere in the future, when I will be allowed to discuss and share it with everybody. But once everybody know exactly, and the level of the things that is happening to me, being an immigrant and just being a patriot to the country, I'm sure people will be shocked once, hopefully once everything gets cleared out and I can release it to the people to see, for the public to see. So it is very upsetting to be where we are today in the UK. Like I said, I love this country. I love the people more than anything. So yeah. This is literally, this is it. This is all for me right now.
No, thank you, and very well said. And I think I will just round this off by saying, I think this is one of those important conversations where you uh, listen to the kind of back and forth that Shoaib and I have had, and hopefully it makes you think that if your viewpoint on Muslims, number one, or immigrants, and number two, like Shoaib was saying, has been kind of set in stone, then maybe Shoaib is a shining example of why you should maybe rethink or not paint everybody with the same brush, because there are people like Shoaib out there, they exist, and just like jihadis and Islamists and a very, very small number of far right um,
Yeah.
walk amongst us, so do many Shoaibs in the making. And so every time you think that your position is set, then you should always be open to change. And a conversation like this, I think today, between a Muslim, a still believing Muslim, and an ex-Muslim like myself, and I have kind of thrown Islam under the bus a few times in front of him, it just shows that progress is possible, and conversation is always an option and should always be sought over anything else. Because in an ideal world, for the ex-Muslim versus Muslim kind of beef that they have, Shoaib and I would have never sat down and spoken. But it actually turns out that there's a lot of common ground, and there's a lot of times when we're actually completely on the same side, despite Shoaib being a Muslim and myself having left the fold completely. So I would just implore people to think more about the views that they have in terms of things like immigration, legal immigration, being a Muslim and being a patriot at the same time. Because I know myself, I've made comments, even as of today, questioning Zia Yusuf as the chairman of Reform on his patriotism, but with still being a Muslim. So it's just food for thought, I guess. And remembering that each person is an individual in their own right, and they come with their own set of experiences and their own set of ideals, and it just it is wrong for you to think that the best way to approach a situation when there could be various deviations of that. And I think Shoaib is a case in point. And secondly, just the fact that Shoaib has attended Tommy Robinson rallies or even met Tommy Robinson and had a conversation with him, I think that's very telling in terms of people who try and paint Tommy Robinson as a racist. If he was so, I don't think he would have even given Shoaib the time of day and said what he did to Shoaib, and Shoaib would probably have stopped following him or admiring him or looking up to the bloke that's the same very second. And the fact that's not happened is probably indicative of the fact that maybe Tommy Robinson is also tarnished and painted with a very racist brush that he isn't. So if a Pakistani Muslim immigrant like Shoaib, who considers himself a patriot, can admire Tommy Robinson for this stance and position he's taken, maybe that's something that we can all kind of stop and pause and think about. And then, just to wrap it up, I would say, Shoaib, I know things are all kind of still chaotic and up in the air for you. So anybody that's listening, if you have any words of wisdom or any kind of advice you would like to offer Shoaib, please go and follow his channel, follow him on X, and please do so. But for now, Shoaib, I wish you all the best. Stay strong, stay safe. We are with you. I'm sure there are plenty of other British patriots here who are with you. We've got your back. Really, really admire you speaking up and standing up despite everything it's cost you. And I look forward to welcoming you back on Holy Humanist at some point in the future.
Yeah. Better circumstances as well, hopefully.
Absolutely better circumstances.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And go and enjoy a dinner now.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the like button. And I know it's been a really long time since I've done this, so I will try and do this a lot more often. But thanks to everybody who listened and commented. The live chat was lit. I was trying to keep up as much as possible. But I'll see you all very soon, and happy International Women's Day once again. Good night, everyone from London. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye from Wales.